your soul, leaping at the chance for love. Can you feel it? Haunting your senses, letting all your feelings go. But I can feel it rushing through my veins. Your love's the only drug I know. But we've been playing the hand now with death, so we can light it up. I know that we can make it through the night, but I can feel it for you inside. So there won't be no fear tonight. We crossed the line, and now it's clear to see the light behind the suffering. Believe we'll finally be free. Let the silhouette cast upon your heart, turning every little moment into scars. Baby, it's our chance to make a start, so we can fly.
I know that we will make it. I know that we will make it. I know that we will make it. I know that we
I know that we can make it through the night, but I can feel it for you inside. So there won't be no fear tonight. We crossed the line, and now it's clear to see the light behind the suffering. Believe we'll finally be free.
You've got me, you've got me.
everybody. I'm Mark Power. I'm joined by the amazing Gibson. You might have seen him on some PUBG. And this outstanding, handsome devil who's just got back from holiday. The legend, the one and only Whippet Cast. Boys, welcome in. It's update day. It's REDSEC day. Gibson, you've been grinding a lot, so you can sit tight for 2 seconds because Whippet, you've been on holiday, mate. How was holiday first, bro?
It was fantastic to get to sit out in the sun, you know, a full week. I didn't even look at my phone. And I've come back from holiday, and it's time for this. Not only a huge updates drop to return to Wake Island, but more importantly, we get to watch these scrims and bring them live to you. Finally, we have this observer mode, and I cannot wait to see what these teams can get done today.
Gibson, come on. I know you've been itching to talk about REDSEC, brother. Come on. How are you? First and foremost, welcome into some REDSEC.
I'm doing good. Look, last year, whenever the whole Elite Series was first announced, you know I wanted in on REDSEC. I lifted every single boulder, opened up every single door trying to find a way in, and finally, we've got the Observer featuring, and we're finally getting a chance to cast these scrims on behalf of Fireteam, of course. But look, it's going to be a lot of fun. This is a world's first casted REDSEC broadcast.
Let's put some disclaimers out there first and foremost. Yes, this is the world's first casted REDSEC. The update has happened today, so that means we've been given the Observer slot and we can get in there. We've had a little bit of a play around. I had to dust off the old controller. But it does mean there could potentially be a few bugs, but we will work for it. Gibson, come on, let's give people a rundown though. What does it mean? Obviously, we're with the Fire Team. Obviously, you guys in chat can type ! Fire Team and you'll be able to get to Discord, and we'll talk more about that in a bit. But what is going to happen today?
So basically, we are going to have 6 games over the course of today. If you're wondering what the point system is when it comes to REDSEC, it is 22 points for a win, 1 point for every single kill. For those who were watching the broadcast on Gaz channel of their scrims on Saturday, they finished with 240 plus points, which is an outlier. I promise that's not going to happen all that often. But the main thing you guys need to know is the main rule everyone has to follow tonight is the 1-1-1-1 class system. So you can only have 1 assault, 1 support, 1 engineer, and 1 recon. Basically, no double assault, no triple assault. I know that Whippet, you love a full 4-man assault roster, but you got to follow the 1-1-1-1 rule tonight.
Whippet, is that going to have a big problem? Like, let's talk about that. Is that going to have a problem? I know you're an assault guy, but is that a big impact to these teams?
I think obviously they would have been aware of this coming into it, where they would have been, all right, we have to get used to it, and some poor soul gets stuck on support. So I feel bad for whoever's going to be on that. Normally it's you in our stacks, Mark. Listen, you are the assist king, so if there's any class that might line up for that. But a lot of these players are going to obviously be more used to how they're going to be running in their rank stacks, a lot of assaults, a lot of utility, especially in that grenade launcher. Was nerfed at the beginning of Season 4, but still so potent at clearing positions, forcing space, and using that destruction. I think for some of these teams, maybe it will be a bigger learning curve, but with this system, I'm very intrigued to see what synergies they can find and make it work. But I do feel so bad for whoever got stuck on support.
Don't, boys, don't. Look, I actually like support, right? Gibson steals all the kills, but I'm just happy with my little SMG running around with a little rocket launcher. It's all good. Gibson, stop taking the mick out of my support, mate.
It's not. It's your shooting, not your support that I take the mick out of. But I think the big thing is there's a lot of like little hidden interactions that a lot of these operators, those classes have that people might not be as in tune to. One of which, of course, is with support. When you drop your smoke launcher, you can res that a little bit quicker. It reses quicker, gets you back up on your feet. If you're playing on the recon option, another one is, the little deployable dummies that you can put down. That actually takes away your sniper glint. So if you're sniping behind one of those, your glint is invisible. That's another little interaction with the game that's not necessarily spelled out to you, but it's something you will see more of. I think the only person who really drew the short straw of the Whippet is probably the engineer, right? Engineer tanks are no longer inside of these games. RIP all the French teams. I know all the French teams in REDSEC loved 2 Bradley setups with 2 engineers keeping them safe all the time. But engineer's kind of the rough one, right?
It is. You're really looking at the fact that you're realistically using your upgraded guided launcher as more of a find that damage, find that pick at range. It can be great for an opening, and of course, you can use it to clear those buildings. You can blow through walls, create your line of sights that you need to make that push happen, but overall, in the overall sandbox, it's going to be a very tricky day. But with this now being enforced for teams having to use it, there is nothing that can lead to innovation more than the level of restriction. So I'm very curious about how things look a few weeks from now with how people are forcing to play the engineer role.
Look, let's be honest, this is a new section. Obviously, a lot of people have sort of migrated into sort of Battlefield, and we've seen a proportion of other games sort of come in here, especially from you guys' community, from a Rainbow Six point of view, and obviously me and Gibson from a PUBG, plus others. Obviously, this game has a huge following already, so a lot of these people will know this. If you don't know, though, guys, one of the best things you can do is join some of the Discords, and one of the Discords I can recommend, though, is Fireteam. ! Fireteam into chat. That should be able to get you, obviously, a link to Discord where you can meet with other communities, and if not, come talk to us. There are a few others on there, but this is a new community, especially around esports, guys. So if you haven't, again, we're collaborating together. Go give all the streamers a follow. These are all the guys and girls that are going to be out there that at the moment have put some hard work in, Gibson, that you'd expect to be kind of top. And I know you've alluded to one team already, which has been running away with it, but this is a great time to start.
Yeah, Team TBA, which doesn't stand for to be added, by the way. It stands for something else that's a little bit more X-rated. But that team, of course, is full of players that a lot of people are going to know. So a lot of people from the PUBG community, they're going to know the likes of God, Paige, and Rustenmar. 3 people have been in the scene a long time. Paige and Rustenmar, of course, on the competitive side. Gal was a massive content creator who made the jump and is now a competitive player in the scene. But on that team, there's one player in particular I want everyone to keep an eye out on, and that is Unknown. So Unknown is a player from Kazakhstan, didn't really come from a competitive scene other than I think it was Tarkov back in the day. This kid is insane. I'm going to go out on a limb based on what I've seen from watching some NA scrims, EU scrims, and just gameplay. I think Unknown is probably the best player in REDSEC in the world right now. And of course, the game's early, so a lot can change, but he is definitely someone I'd keep an eye out on.
That there is a early prediction, and for some of the fans and some of the friends that you have out there, they might not be happy with that one, Gibson. Whippet, look, obviously you, like me, are a little bit behind when it comes down to Gibson of playing the game. He refuses to put it down at the moment, but I know you've been putting some hours in as well, mate, because you are well ahead of me. Key takeaways, like key things, if you are new coming to this game, what should people be looking for?
Big thing is the tempo of these fights. It is not going to be around flooding after a knock. You get that crack, you break the armor, and you try and take the advantage. Pace of play is very high-paced here, and I think the teams that are going to be very clinical and very quick at finishing off their fights are going to be the ones that run away, especially in that early game. And I think that's one of the special things about REDSEC is how these fights can be so spontaneous, so quick, and the fact that teams really are forced to take that incentive to push and run it down. And with the amount of damage, for example, we've seen with the DMRs, the SVDS metas, I think when running all of our ranked games, a few misplaced shots, 1 second of mispositioning opens the door for a full team fight. So lots to think about in terms of that.
Gibson, again, what let you guys know, we're just waiting. We have 100 players in the lobby. I think there's a little bit of a move around. Everyone needs to get themselves into the kind of right slot. So just bear with us 1 second now. We'll get into game number 1. But again, let's give some of these new viewers that may have not played REDSEC a bit of a rundown, actually, because it's not like some of the other Battle Royale games when you die, you're out. There's like recalls. Obviously, there's different bits on the map. If you can give guys and girls a little bit of an overview, what to expect when they see the map feed.
So obviously it's going to run the exact same way that it happens in normal REDSEC or REDSEC ranked. You get your second chance up until a certain amount of teams have died, and then at that point on, you've got to do it manually. So what that means is you might see teams go for hot drops a little bit earlier on in the game to try boost themselves to early points. It doesn't work in ranked where those points multiply the longer you stay in. It's still only 1 point for kill, but we know from working other BRs how important those kill points can be when they all add up. The big one for me though is as this game adapts and develops, not a lot of teams have set drop spots. As far as I know, Team TBA and maybe 1 or 2 others have defined drop spots that they will go for. The rest of the lobby is still kind of playing it as it goes. See what the flight path is for the helicopters, work out which drop suits them best based on the heli they're in, and they'll just drop that way. But I think that as time progresses and the game develops, we will see more and more teams in the lobby designate specific drop spots for themselves.
Do you think that's going to be a thing? I'll go back to you, Gibson, again, because I get Whippet. I know you've got a question around Battle Royales, mate. Do we think that's going to be a natural path for this game that we are going to see, that we see in some of the others where we get these kind of discords and agreed loot spots? I know this is a scrim, this is a bit of practice, but we've got a 10k event already around the corner in a couple of weeks.
We do, and we saw some hot drops at the weekend, right? So I spoke about TBA having that set drop spot. Well, the Polish Eagles kept hot dropping on top of them on those triple houses just south of Golf Course. And whether that's being to try to maybe take that spot away, whether that's a case of just trying to build up confidence and take down a strong team, it's something worth keeping an eye on. So watch for some teams having set stop drop spots, but I think like maybe more so like Warzone or Apex, you will see more teams who just like to go where they think the action is going to be, because at the end of the day, if you get wiped early, you can just drop straight away again. No harm, no foul.
And that's a big thing though, Whippet, isn't it? The ability to come back. I know the 3 of us like to go for it, go for an aggressive drop spot. And if we die instantly, it's like, oh, that didn't happen, we can just go again. But for some of these teams that are coming in, that they might come across some really strong players, they get the ability to reset quite quickly.
Yeah, it's a nice benefit to go for an aggressive hot drop, and we've always mentioned it, you know, you get the chance to get a few of those kill points, and even if you win it, you have that early control, but that reset for teams is super impactful to give you that early game confidence to maybe make those more aggressive plays. My one kind of other side of this is you're going to be dropping in positions where you're going to be likely around kind of one of those quieter areas, not one of the goal zones on the map. If a team is in transit or they catch you, you're going to be very vulnerable off that respawn. Happens to us all the time. How many times have we dropped in and been landing straight in the middle of the action? So even with that second chance, they have to be very careful where they land post respawn, just to try to avoid the action. And without having the assigned looting locations and drops for these teams, that early read might be difficult for these initial stages.
Well, an early read is underway shortly. We're pretty much full lobby. I believe the game is a launch, and these two can't see it, so I've been keeping them on tender hooks.
Yeah.
We do have 6 games, though, this evening. This will be first number 1. As I said, there are scrims and there are points on the board. Look, with no further ado, I'm going to step out, lads. I'm going to throw it over to you two, because you got game number 1.
This is going to be fun. Whip it. First time ever casting a battle royale beside you. Normally, it's the two of us working our way through, you know, typical 5v5 shooters like Siege. We did some Valorant, but we're jumping into REDSEC. And the fun thing with you is we had a lot of conversations when this game came out. You're a Battlefield enjoyer. You were there when all the crazy stuff was happening in the last Battlefield. You were there in Battlefield 1. But there's something about REDSEC. This is the first time you've ever really enjoyed a BR.
Listen, there's something about this, it's got its claws so deep into me, and I think I mentioned it a little bit, it's that pace of playing, the gunfights and that TTK being so fast, your playtime being so slow if you're not on that assault class, forcing you to make these very cerebral decisions. And we get ready for this one, Gibby. I am super excited for this. What is your initial expectation as we get ready for our first drops in this game?
Like I said, watch for early gunfights. You can see the flight path early on that is going to take us on is starting off on that southeastern side, making its way up to due north. Actually, the map's switched around a little bit. My perspective's a little bit wrong, but it's going from that security side all the way up towards Marina Mark, where golf course is going to be one of those last spots. Defense Nexus, though, not being one of the golden areas, might just impact the fact that some teams might not want to go there.
Defense can be very, very hot, but not seeing it. And actually, it does look like some teams are immediately gravitating towards it. A lot of combat to take there. And again, we talked about it at length in our pre-show. If you know you're going to be in a high concentration of teams, your kill tally is going to be great. We got 2 teams breaking down towards the southwest at this point, and a lone team on the blue side dropping into Chemical Foresight, uncontested for now on the far eastern side of the map. And they're in a great position to push into golf course, down to Defense Nexus, depending how fights go. Fairly uncontested for Chemical. Issue is, though, Grey Loot Zone not going to be able to get the best of this, so they have some time to work on their missions to build things up, potentially even early customs if they find the chance.
Yeah, it's just worth pointing out as well to the viewers at home that there is no ability to give defined team names in the server, so they'll be running the default Battlefield ones, but as those player names come up on screen as the UI is shown, we'll be able to let you know who's fighting with who, which team is which, where teams have dropped. So it is a work in progress on the night as we do see, you know, 2 Voraks on this position in Nexus, and it does look like Fallen isn't too far away. So we do have some early contention here on Nexus.
This is what I want to see, though. I want to see Nexus being hot early, and it's just going to be that initial pressure, but it looks like that mid-control being held and just going to hold that choke point. Think about how this map's designed, or this POI. You got that big central choke point, you got the large and small side of the building, and they're going to try and initially hold that, but they do fall back. I do enjoy the fact that we have an EOD bot arm. You can just use it to get that soft destruction. First visually found. Good damage done. Cracking the injury as the fall back. Not a lot of HP to work with. Find that full reset. The ladder peeking. Player on his left-hand side doesn't find that. Initially backs off and forced to replate.
Yeah, Punchy just keeping the contention on. You can see Soupy's made his way below. He's got the angle, manages to hit the headshot, 140 damage, needs to sprint in quickly to try get the flush, but Rage will wrap his way around the corner. So Soupy is on the hunt now. A full death ball being sent in to get the flush. They find Rage, they get the crack once more, and they get that instant down, so they get the number advantage now in this fight.
That's what happened now. The key for moment for me is you have to be able to push this and really combine on that pressure. You've got that initial pick, you flushed them out, now can you convert this perfectly? Right, high ground advantage held by Punchy. He's going to get a perfect finish as well and lock it out. Now, with the SQR, you have a low rate of fire, low balloon, low recoil, but you're going to be very vulnerable in positions like this where you get pushed out. So Punchy, wise choice, wraps out, but not a full commit to the ground floor. Plays on the glass awning, just waiting for something to drop into him, but has to make a full repivot here.
Yeah, last player alive, so really what he's expecting to do is stay alive, wait for the rest of the teammates to jump in, and then instantly re-engage in that fight, because as long as he stays alive, they've always got that second chance. But one thing you've got to be worried about at all time is that push from Amazon, from Truck Stop. As the fight in Nexus continues, teams will begin to move in third party. And just outside construction, looks like we're about to kick off with another battle.
Crossing the open ground, they're going to get themselves towards the container yard. It's going to be a very set up position. Inertial shots go off, and a bit of an RPG fired early. Grenade launcher followed up by the assault here, and Straight Bot just going to try and lead the charge. Middle of a mission intercept as well, so this could be a nightmare. Trying to build up some utility with that. Nade goes out deep, and both these players setting up an in. Great damage done to the window.
Yeah, Seacon troopers just pushing in this battle, looking to take the advantage here with it as Scrapbot pushes in. Inertia's got the trap around the corner, but he seems locked on and hit fire. He's able to find one. Can he get that confirmed with the NVO? Yes, he can. Numbers in favor now of the Seacon troopers.
NVO going to be one of those popular weapons I see once you get towards that custom weapon phase, but it's going to be a bloodbath. Going to be a trade-off here. A difficult fight, having to dance around with the lone support. It's going to get caught out of position, but the PP-19 finds one. Looks for that flush of the RPK, cannot find it, does find it, but gets himself traded away. But up on board there, it's going to be a 2 players down position for them. And still, one team holding pressure in Nexus. A lot of action early in that mid-map position. Thinned out pretty aggressively, and looks like Golf Course is going to get very hot soon, as I believe Gagod's squad is going to be close to the action at that point, pushing into a lone member of that more yellow-teal colored side.
Yeah, yellow-teal color side, that's what we'll go for. Remember, we don't have the ability to name teams, but we are on board with the Mountain Squad as they're in a battle just on the edge of that marina side. Ovu, Akali, Vorn, and Lamouette. One of the, I'm assuming, French rosters that we have is looking to find their feet early stages, but you can see what I mean. A lot of players have already put themselves on that side, but whip it up by Golf Course by the warehouses. Looks like we might have another fight as Man here is a little bit isolated. L-Man trapped in a corner, and you can see that this team is working to try clear him out.
As you see on that minimap, the pulses from the tugs going out. Just if he stays perfectly still, motion sensor from Recon won't be able to see him, and he's the sole survivor for his squad at this stage, and they likely still have that second chance to come back, but he's taking his time, and he'll hear these footsteps, and this is going to be a very nervous time indeed. But the stiller he sits, the less noise he makes, and no chance for that Recon motion sensor to find him just yet, so he'll be tantalizingly close to this team by Golf Course for the time being.
Yeah, you just gotta wait. You can see the circle kind of shifted just north as well, by the way, so that area by bathrooms, by Golf Course, looking very central towards the map. Mystery hole here from the Silverbacks, just getting rid of those UAVs. And it is worth pointing out to a lot of viewers at home as well that those UAVs can be shot down with LMGs, DMR, snipers very quickly indeed if you hit your shots. But as we move into that crash site valley, it's going to be very important that these teams stay out of the open. And it looks like right now we could have some trouble here from Strix.
I was distracted from that too.
Your friend is now playing REDSEC.
Oh,
good to know.
Well, it does look
guys.
like Strix is just going to make this rotation down and get a little bit of pressure finding them from behind, but I think once you drop down in the valley, you're super vulnerable. You're playing in the bottom of a bowl, essentially. Just reset and find that control, and from the minimap, we can see that that fight was likely a very far away. Not really something to worry about, and maybe just some shots designed to chip away towards that plate capacity. Hop on board here, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty aggressive push running straight into another team. Can't quite catch the name of these players, but it does look like it's going to be a full defensive setup. Sitting in corners, they'll hear this, they got the motion sensor down as well, and they'll be able to see exactly what's going on around them.
Yeah, on the Cobra squad, we're jumping back into that one, just happening on the edge of Marina. Looks like shots will be fired out as damage is dealt. We're down to 21 teams left alive as Forever Old will start wrapping his way up to the top floor. They get that squad wipe, and we lose our 22nd team. So we're down to 21 now, as they're starting to get some space inside the server. One thing to keep an eye on, there is a recall happening just south of Golf Course. We have a couple of teams pushing in to try stop it from occurring.
Going to be very important for the team on the defense here to hold on to it at this stage without second chances. You want your team back at full capacity, so you're going to fight so difficult to hold on to it, and the second the teams in your proximity hear that, they will sense the blood in the water. It's like they spotted the limping Impala behind the pack of their cheetahs going for that final kill. A great set of parachutes diving straight into us as Gargoyle going to move themselves into the multi-story car park. Custom weapons will drop just on the outskirts of downtown and might grab the attention of teams who are yet to gather it. Already seeing some teams gathering up their custom weapons, and SCW getting, actually no, I always forget the name of the opening, and MPX is what I would call it, is going to be able to get that set up, and unusual, they're not seeing SCW 10 being the primary SMG choice.
Yeah, but it just depends what people like using as well. Sometimes I think those 37 extra rounds can be a help, as we see Kalidas Gosu manage to put some work in. Of course, he is another player that's worth keeping an eye on over the course of today, playing for those Crimey Beans, as they seem, alongside BB, to be putting in a lot of work of their own. Gandalf, though, will continue wrapping around. You can see that Traverser up on the hill line is going to keep their attention for just that little bit, but moving your way into the circle is the priority for now.
Lying fairly close to the edge, and you put that words are difficult after a day of work, it seems, but for the team holding the high ground, that's going to be so much damage done. Gandalf can't cross from it. He's going to get shut down and flushed out so quickly. Gets found by a KTS, so stable at the range, and a brand new sniper rifle in play with a fantastic sweet spot to find that damage, find one pick, and it's going to be brutal playing on the edge of the zone, likely shut down, and the Traverser just going to make this rotation so easy for this side. Outlaw to be able to move perfectly around, and they have great reposition potential here, Gibson.
Yeah, 6-7 on the field, doing a great job of getting... That's the team name.
I know it's the team name, but I'm so like coded to hear the number combination, and the hand motion begins.
Look, it's the team. Squinty, Golden Magic, Fusker, and Bilbo's worth keeping an eye on. Ironside here, we're going to still use the default ones, and a battle up on top of the hills by the silo. Interstellar is trying to put in some work, but Jude will wrap his way across. Jude is going to get traded down, though, and another player falls. One thing worth pointing out as well, I have noticed the team LFTs, Field Logic, Fatsa Black, Zyko, and Toomsy, have been getting a bunch of kills in the Fido on that top right side as well.
Point per kill, super important for them to be able to find that control. Helps them with the high placement. And only 3 members still standing from this difficult pressure. That's going to be TBA, though, pushing down on them. Page going to be on a separate flank, first man to follow that charge, and does re-engage with the rest of his team. Looks like they've been wounded, though. Gargoyle has dropped at this stage of the round. And all these bodies stacked underneath the bridge and around this. A couple of good grenades here from that assault grenade launcher could be massive. Just looking to have that control. Being very careful what to peek at this stage. DMR sniper rifles will leave you very vulnerable if you expose yourself for a fraction of a second. Page finds one, and they're going to flood this. And this is going to be a worst case scenario now. Knowing you've got players like Page bearing down this pressure. They're going to ascend down this hill and leave it all down the one. And a squad wipe is imminent. And I believe it's about to occur.
Yeah, it's already been dealt with as unknown. Rustenmar and Page, Team TBA, will clear up golf course. Next thing they'll need to do is focus their way into the circle, which again has gone very far up to the south side of this map. Not an area we see all too often for these games to finish in. Golden Magic in a ton of trouble. I spoke about this team a little bit earlier, 6-7 on the field. Well, looks like they got to be very, very careful now. One player up, coming under heavy pressure. Can Magic work some of his own?
He's going to have to try and find a way to get an escape here. Maybe take one with him. Great use of the ladder there. Finding high ground.
He's going straight into another team.
Yeah, this is brutal. He's going to run straight into another team. He's going to straight and run into 2 teams, but potentially find himself in a third party. If he can pick up 1, maybe 2 kills here. Great chance to get some extra points on the board. And we can take a look at the map here, Gibby. A lot of chaos happening just above crash site there. Everyone seeming to converge. And it looks like it's going to be a very lonesome time on the northwest corner for that red side.
Hey, look, as long as they're quiet, they'll not complain. Remember, placement points 22 for a win, but a little bit further away. Rage, one of the teams that we witnessed in that hot drop a little bit earlier on, now find themselves over by crash site. Aware is the target for them as they close the gap. Real Volt is going to get picked up. There's the first one. Rage gets his knock, dips himself into cover. Can they get the instant defib, though? You can see pressure from behind. They get that defib, and now they keep all 4 bodies back up and in the fight.
They have a great chance to try and flood this, and it's going to be Soupy just trying to play behind cover. Artillery does land, but the stabilizer of the crashed aircraft keeps him in the fight, and he can begin to fall down this hill. They're going to give the high ground control to their opposition, but they're just going to try and get as much distance as possible. Soupy gets lit up and knocked eventually. He'll get flushed out here, leaving it all down the Blue Hawk, the last man standing from his squad. And while at this stage, Punchy knows, yeah, they have the perfect chance to try and flood down into it. Actually, he's not going to be the last man standing. It's going to be a full recovery there. My vision of colors betrayed me.
Yeah, Field Logic, I think, and his squad were able to wipe that one out. Fatsa Blackfield and, you know, a couple other streamers we know in the scene, so show them some love at any point if you can. And yes, Fats did say we're allowed to call them Fats, so I will be using that name for the broadcast. Elsewhere, though, center circle completely unoccupied, but the terrain there doesn't lead yourself to that good position. One thing worth pointing out, though, deployable recall being brought in to see if there's a chance that Team TBA can get all 4 members back up on their feet. And it doesn't look like anybody's in any rush to push them.
At this stage, if you know that TBA trying to recover a player, you want to try and push that. Gagod's going to be back with his side if they stick this, and it's going to be great for them to be able to find that. The pressure dancing around. The SCW-10 does find one, but so low and wounded, no movement can save you, and they get shut down. A wipe found as they try and make that respawn work, but immediately, second pressure arrives. Mountain's going to try and push this, and they hear that respawn going off. They'll try and dive in, but both teams now likely knowing they're in close proximity. It's going to be a full advantage, and I don't think he's going to last too much longer, as Tony Mon is going to have to try and take his odds and run away, but unfortunately SCW-10 of Le Mans is going to shut him down. Another team wipe falls. 8 squads remain at this stage.
Yeah, Crimey Bean's doing a great job up on that northern side of the map, just clearing people out as they come. Jumping back into the action by Crush Site, we see Rage still getting aggressive with it. It's 3 players up in the fight. Punchy is going to find one. You can see Rage gets that kill confirmed, but he gets himself caught out in the open. Goes for the hip fire, gets another one. And I believe that is almost job done here as well. Instantly going to get all bodies back up on their feet, but good squad wipe there. 7 teams left alive.
They have a little bit of space to work with as well. There's no real pressure coming from the right-hand side for now, just like there is going to be movement from TBA to get pressure on them. 2 teams currently occupy the zone. Looks like TBA a little bit separate here. It's going to be a difficult one. Scrapbot's going to find himself scrapping against high ground. A smoke strike to try and buy himself some space. Pushing straight in towards unknown at this point. Not going to be the ideal matchup, and there's sandwiched between 2 teams playing down the low ground on this road. They have to make a decision where to commit, and I think they're going to try and play the edge or battle through this, but this is a horrible fight, and we see rockets arriving. Page finds one with the L116, and I think this team down the road are going to be very, well, they're going to be gone very soon if I had any prediction, Gibson.
Yeah, the thing for TBA, though, is they've got that open field across their way in, so they're looking to find Nox. Rustenmar will get Dr. Helldog, but they need that little bit more space. Now, with them being on the slow side of the circle relatively, it does mean they don't need to be completely aggressive, but they'll be hoping that they can get some smoke cover to move in that little bit later on. Another recall looks like it might have been successful as we welcome 2 more battle players back into the lobby, but I'm thinking about this one, Whippet. This is going to be tough. Like, you're landing in 1 plate. If you're an assault, you got the B36 in your hands. You see a launcher trying to hit Dazio.
Oh my
But
goodness.
really, I think half the lobby's just trying to take him out.
Oh, it feels like he's just trying to power glide into a midst of flak fire, and he does get shut down. Unknown finds that with the EBR, and very well done. Extra point gather for TBA, and you have to be impressed with it. It just feels so unfortunate, though. How helpless must you be as you parachute down? Massive airstrike, though, from Ga, finding 2 knocks, and that's going to open the door perfectly for the rest of the team to try and push and find that pressure, and that's exactly what they'll do. They swarm in behind him, but Page goes down, gets finished off as well by that SPDS. It's going to be a difficult one to work with. Portable barricades being placed to try and find recovery, and Bloodhound and Punchy might be able to have a great chance to find the revive here. They do, unfortunately, on the assault. Not going to get that speedy revive time, but TBA playing up against the edge. Punchy needs to make a commitment, and his teammate's going to be critical as well. Enough shot will send him instantly to the left screen. Rustamore has to make the pivot with his team as well. A great snipe found from Unknown, looking to try and collapse this perfectly on the edge, but unfortunately, no, he doesn't overextend, but finding pressure from behind.
Yeah, Unknown's got to be careful. DMR and Sniper are the 2 weapons he has in his hand as he put down that second mobile redeploy, trying to keep everybody up once more. I spoke about it earlier, though. That is a lot of open ground. The TBA need to push their way across as we get another squad wipe. 4 teams left alive. You've got Ga and Co and TBA on one side of the circle, Screwface holding the edge, but look at that shift. Now you've got the French players wrapping their way around aggressively, and they might just backfill this.
It's going to be huge for them. You just have to sit tight, and again, if you're in the zone at this point, you might just try and hold that ground and wait for a team to make that advance on you. So much open ground, as you mentioned, for Team TBA to try and make that cross. They'll try and utilize those smoke grenades best they can, as we see Page on that parachute just trying to close as much ground as possible. Under significant fire, they can play in the recessed ground of this bunker. Play your golf game finds you often, Gibson, but it will be an early down from 1, and Punchy and Annie will find that pressure arriving from Rustamore and Page.
It's the water I find myself in, Whippet, not the bunker. Get if you're going to insult me about my golf game, get it right, as Punchy will go down. Looks like that was found out by Gavu up on the hills. For the still 4 teams left alive. That hill line, though, once you try to cross over, it becomes really tough. Going to send the launcher over, see if you can do some damage onto the members of TBA. But that fence is just about keeping them alive. Page is low.
It's going to be low, and this is going to be very limited cover to work with. They're going to find so much pressure. V2 Fallen diving from the sky to try and find control from his team, and would have gathered some information. But TBA have limited cover to work with. But I talk about limited cover. Fallen eventually fall, shut down by Rustin Moore, and it's going to be down to 3 squads remaining. A lot of pressure from both these sides. Looks like TBA, full power. Unsure of the rest of this, and actually the only squad at full capacity at this stage. 2 members of this side holding the zone, 3 up in the high ground towards the north. Great position for TBA to try and lock this one out, with that numbers advantage they hold right now.
Yeah, Vorn, Lamoette, and Gavu and co, they need to work their way, and they have full custom weapons. You can see now's the time to move. Whips out the melee weapon, trying to just sprint his way, using the smoke and getting his way down to the ridgeline. How important could that be for this side? Just getting something up there. You can see Gavu, he'll go down on the plate as well. Another smoke might be being sent in, but at this point, this is a really aggressive move. But Whip It, they're losing numbers, they're losing players. It's just a Cali left alive. 3 teams up, and you know the TBA are going to push in and try to flush that, and they do.
They flushed that perfectly, and this is now a worst case scenario. You're up against the might of 4, and the names bearing down in this position will make it very difficult for Screwface to hold their ground. Anyone he can take with them will be an extra boon to his team's tally. Toxic grenades go out to try and force him out of position with 13 meters to that zone. He's gonna sit, trip, hallucinate, and eventually get shut down by Page as TBA will lock out the very first scrim of the evening, and a very dominant display indeed.
Yeah, that's a big one for them. Look, they started last weekend on Saturday. They won 4 of the 6 maps. They came second in one. They came 17th in another. They kind of kicked things off the way that they finished. The big thing to point out for me, though, is so many times they found themselves down to 2 or 3 players and were able to regroup. The mobile redeploys came in clutch for them. At one point, they were down to 2. I saw Unknown had the SVD and the new sniper as the only weapons in his pocket, but they still managed to get the job done. And that's the sign of a good team. But I saw a lot of good stuff, like from the early aggression was really, really good as we welcome Mark back in, and there's our leaderboard.
Okay, I can come back in.
Yeah,
we
we
was waiting to see if we'd get a leaderboard. Yes, we get a leaderboard, lads. GG's. I will first and foremost apologise. That observing was terrible by me. So I had to try and
You
figure
did your
out.
best.
Mate, trying to zoom the map, it like zooms 1,000 miles an hour versus not. Anyway, that's game 1, match and done. And welcome in everyone that has just jumped in. This is the REDSEC Scrims with the ! Fire team. Wow. Good hold from the guys. I tried to capture as much as I could, especially when it comes down to story mode. But a big sweep from the guys. And actually, halfway through that, I felt like Whip It, especially with Gar's team, like the winners from that one, there was a position where they held. And then we saw that transition into the late game where it was about, actually, we need to hold our train. We don't need to be aggressive. We don't need to push into that French team that's sitting on the roll. We need to wait to see where the zone plays out.
They played that perfectly, and knowing it's a team that I think love to get aggressive and take the fights, being able to pump the brakes and sit, right now we need to play for control, wait to see how things go, and even to lean on what Gibson said, they were able to bounce back from 2 players down at points, finding huge recoveries. They've shown that, yes, they have the firepower to deal with it and kind of overrun teams in positions, but they have the wherewithal to sit still, hold their nerve, and figure out what they want to do next. And often that's going to be a massive hallmark of a very talented team indeed. And Unknown, I believe, found 11 kills by himself. You praised him, Gibby, at the start of this one, and he went huge.
I told you, I think he's the best player in the world at REDSEC right now, and I'm not glazing because I do like the team. I genuinely think he is nuts. But I want to highlight some other teams, right? Team Rocket, we saw a lot of them on that hot drop in Nexus and then working their way through Cash Site. For those of you who don't really know who that Team Rocket roster are, that of course is Angel Bullet, Annie, Fallen, and Rage. They were really good at some of their bombing. We saw how important those defibs were. Like the minute they get a player knocked, they're instantly defibbing them to get them back up on their feet. But Team Rocket did impress me a lot in that one as well.
Yeah, that whole REDSEC, that beginning, it was quite interesting to watch the team stand off. We nearly had a third party slash a fourth party, but then we kind of ended up with these sort of 2-2 battles that happened. For me, it was all about crash site. And those defibs, as you mentioned, Gibson, came into play because it wasn't a case of just getting them back up quickly. The Red was pushing in on them. They were getting forced out the zone, but they had so much pressure coming from the top side. The biggest thing I didn't really see too much of was teams going for a lot of missions. It felt like this game was a bit more of a couple were trying. They were trying to figure out actually what is the pace of this lobby.
It was, and teams are going to work that out, right? Like, at the end of the day, REDSEC Esports is still in its infancy. We've had a couple of $10,000 tournaments in the US. We've got one coming up very soon in Europe. But everyone's kind of still getting their grounding when it comes to tempo, when it comes to pacing. It does look like teams that have experience in other esports have hit the ground running a little bit more than others. But then a lot of the people who've been, RedSec players from day one have really been putting in a lot of great work. Like Golden Mike's team, 6-7 on the field with Squinty. They look like they've got a lot of their timings and rotate. Yeah, you can do it all day long. That was very good. But another team like Team Nebula, the French roster that we saw coming second at the very end, another team that seemed to be very clever when it came to the rotates and positioning.
Whip it. Final thoughts after game one before we go to a break, mate.
I think I honestly, I did not know what to expect going this one and see how these teams played out, but the pace, the tempo, all the action was perfect, and I'm very curious about what lessons can we learn as we get ready for map number 2.
Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll see you guys in a few.
I just turned 18, saw your whole life in front of me, and in the one day I miss cleaning up the cold tea. Now I'm sitting there singing broken heart, helplessly I'm praying, blaming God. Ooh, she told me don't worry, we've been apart before. The words of heaven will be waiting for you once more. She told me don't worry, told me don't worry now, told me don't worry, told me don't, told me don't. She said we soon made 3 doctors and friends and family. When it was time to leave, there was only one, and it was me. Got so good at looking next to you, next to you. Couldn't bear the thought of something new. Ooh, she told me don't worry, we've been apart before. The words of heaven will be waiting for you once more. She told me don't worry, told me don't worry now, told me don't worry, told me don't, told me don't. right to the show and we'll fly. You don't have to feel like you're on your own. No one should have to dance alone, not tonight. You and me.
Here we go. It's match number 2, actually, Mark. Oh, I need to update that in a second. Bear with me. That's the thing. I'm going to do this because I can do it really quickly. Gives you a good game.
You guys have
Obviously,
to be really,
for this
really
one, we can't
nice
see
to
exactly
Mark
where.
because he's observant.
Oh my God, I'm observing. I've got 4 PCs, Gibson, on the go. 4 PCs on the go, mate. Let's have a quick look at the map, though. As I can do that because we look at the map stream. I can zoom out because it's on super zoom. Same sort of thing. And the map's not normally as we look at it. So GG's.
Yeah, so the flight path again looks like it's going from that treatment side, working its way up to the edge of the map, just past crash site. A couple of the golden zones have now changed. So the USS Grant, which of course is the new POI on the map, it has been added. Now it is one of the golden zones. I imagine it'll get a high preference for it, seeing as they have the Top Gun collaboration for now. Area 22B is the exact same as well. But keep an eye for a lot of these teams dropping a little bit later on in the flight path, particularly our map winners of game number 1, TBA. They like to drop on the Triple House just south of Golf Course. And let's have a look at that POI, Mark, over here by the USS Grant. It's nice that they finally added something to a section map which was very bare.
Well, yeah, because we had that early, didn't we? Actually, with the. That was like a gold zone. Was it yesterday we were playing? It was like, why is that over here? Like, but clearly the game knew that something was being added in and to where. But it is nice. It gives the opportunity for teams to get over it pretty quickly. They've got to be cautious because it obviously were pushed out. I'm also intrigued to see actually teams maybe close this team out. Not the case this time, but loads of loot to be had.
Yeah, and we're watching now. One of the teams is going to be the team running under Sabre of RDIYX, Speeding, Inertia, and Amara Pakura. Inertia actually got very unlucky in the last game. I think we saw him tucked into the corner at one point over by Truck Stop or Amazon. They got taken down, but they did come back and managed to do a little bit of work later on, playing around that crash site of the map. Looking elsewhere, though, you can see that the TBA team is exactly respect, but Mark, it looks like we've got some action early on as Persimmon is, I'm not even going to try say that name properly, pushing it on Cage over by Crash Sites Construction, and he's going to get that first knock onto ZZI, goes to the hip fire, gets a second one, 2 players down. They are running through them right now. Yeah,
it's long distance shots coming in to the other side as well, but pretty clear. The time I could get over it was the time that it instantly went as well. And lots of early fights in this one, especially around the outside edge. So some of these teams looking to try and get looted, take their time, have a bit of a breather and move in. It's not the case so far. I noticed it in match number 1, and it's the same here for 2. Teams are clashing really early.
Yeah, the Polish Eagles, they did hot drop TBA last time, and this time they're dropping elsewhere, but they're still finding ways to just get involved. Remember, it's 1 point for a kill, 22 points for a win. The points go down. I think everybody in the top, if I'm not wrong, I think it's like top 16 get points, but we'll wait for full confirmation on that one. But I think with the circle that we have, we're still waiting, of course, for the actual circle to reveal itself to all the people at home. But you can see people playing around the edge looking for early game fights.
Yeah, lots of early missions this time as well, so it seems like a bit of a reset for me. These teams eager to go. Looks like a counter mission at the moment, as you can actually obviously see that hunt down for that kill on the outside. So they've got to protect these sort of 3 points, but they also have to target on their right. So they're trying to manage, and that's why we see them kind of, I suppose, taking the same flight path, so to speak, as they work their way closer to zone.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out as well, we do have lots of people joining the community to watch, Mark. I think we see Kosh in there. Kosh absolutely fried us in ranked recently.
Yeah, deleted me.
If you haven't, go check him out. Check out the stream at KOESHH, I believe, on Twitch. The kid is absolutely nasty with it. And welcome in Lackey as well, the tactical Brit, another person who's a pretty big name inside the scene. Funny enough, Mark, he can't defend himself, but Whippet, who's currently muted, is a long-time fan of the tactical Brit and watched him years ago. So he's pretty cool to see him maybe one day getting to cast one of his heroes.
He's going to go all shy and blush. One thing I did notice, Gibson, I can't go through walls, mate. So I have to remember that when I am streaming, and I'm also streaming on a controller, so it looks a bit flippy. I'm really sorry, guys. It's really good to see, obviously. And again, we mentioned this in the pre-show. A lot of these people are getting used to the kind of this community is growing. It's not quite exactly like at peak, especially around esports. And a lot of the early adopters now getting to show what they can bring to the battleground because we now get the observer feed.
Yeah, it's fight time here by Gymnasium, though, as Monkey's going to move on in. Him, Old Boy, Linksu, and Kokoro want to deal with this fight. They drop down the tub. That'll give them information on all those players that are currently above them, right on the edge of the circle. But I'm not sure if you want to be the team that's inside Gymnasium here. All the cards being held just above them. Now remember,
Sorry.
Just so we all know at home, the camera we've worked out is like a physical being. It can't go through walls. It has to go through doors. Even better again, it can't go through. The windows have to be physically opened as well for the camera, the spectator cam, to actually get through them.
The windows are starting to get opened up here. We are getting initial shots that will come through. Christopher takes towards the higher ground. Be careful, the third party those coming in from that top side though, as it comes in from that sort of northeast position. So they have the higher ground, but will that be advantage when the fight starts to kick off?
Yeah, launcher in the hands of Christopher here as they peek on down. All four players stacked in one corner. You do lose one as he jumps on up. Rover in trouble here. He's going to have to disengage. But Otter, he gets two from the high ground. Trouble in. Is he going to go for that instant res? You can see it's a squad wipe now. There is information being gathered on the other side. But that's a good hole. Jumping on down. Monkey dealt with. And that will be the end of that squad. Really clean, and it just goes to show how powerful the high ground is.
Yeah, high ground did play the advantage, though, in that one to be able to close out. Rest of the teams obviously starting to work their way in. Centralised up, though, obviously mission getting done. Defence nexus, still with two teams, though, lurking around the outside edge. And obviously neighbouring out towards that southeast. I have no idea how I can turn it off, so I'm going to apologise that you're going to keep seeing my friends. Because I do have friends in this game, Gibson. It's not just you and Whippet.
It's your EA alerts. You can turn them off between maybe for the next day. But we'll work on it. You can see that Fusker here from 6-7 on the field. He's got a little bit of company as that airstrike's been called in on area 22B as well. He'll get that launch right maybe as a first bit of an engagement. But Outlaw, they're just being very cautious with how they play this. And I think with the spread that they have, the fact that nobody was caught out by that airstrike, and they've got a customs to work with as well. Really good for 6-7 on the field in this position.
Yeah, it's worth to why it's a little bit quieter to talk about customs because they are important. Someone mentioned it in chat, right? Because actually, if you can get custom quite early, it actually really levels you up and gives you a massive advantage taking out these early fights.
It really does. You can see as well there's some icons below ground. That, of course, is inside the bunker. Jumping on board here with Team LFTs, Fatsfield, Zyko, and Toomsy. Looks like they just got the better of one squad battle. Looks like they're maybe about to get everybody back up and on their feet as well. But another team that's been in the action a lot, Scrapbot and crew, they're taking control here up on side of constructions by solar panels. But they got to make their way more centrally in the circle here as well.
Yes, they do. The central obviously has been taken. A lot of these teams now sort of lurking around the outside edge. Same with Viking, obviously they have a little bit of high ground now onto this one. They have spotted it. There goes the bomb, obviously with the breakthrough, and that will breach that sidewall, so giving the opportunity now to have a little look in. Custom weapon not too far away, but again, we've always seen how much the high ground can be advantaged. Can they stay alive as they get the rotation?
Yeah, Lamoette, remember, second place in the last game for this Team Nebula roster. They're going to look to maybe double down and get more points in game number 2. Pushing down towards Caspian and Gandalf. The customs is there, but first shots coming into Lamoette will just force him back into cover. You can see Prism and you've got Caspian in the open. Lamoette trying to pick his shots with that Scar at the ready, but it's not really the weapon you want at this point in time. The NVO and Scar combo, Mark, you can tell they're kind of just utilizing what they've been able to find on the ground since they got back in.
Yeah, I think they've applied the pressure. They're going to now take the customs while they can. They obviously steal to a degree, but for the boys of Caspian, they've already got it and they're on the move away. Obviously, the heavy utility and the will come through, but nothing to be connected. Smoke cover will start to happen. That gives them an opportunity now just to try and get away. But I think the objective has been achieved, though, and that's to steal that custom weapon creep.
Yeah, they've got customs, and I think at this point, a lot of teams should now be pretty customed up with the game. We're jumping on board, though. Punchy on the edge of the circle, being held out. They've got a little bit of cover as they're going to go for that instant defib. Smoke providing them a little bit of cover, but heavy pressure from both sides. I'll be really impressed if Punchy and Fallen can get anything working here as they move on in. There's the shots coming in, and yeah, that's going to be that for them. They will fall, but Mark caught out by the edge of the zone. There wasn't really much they could do there.
No, lights up, proper lights up for them. There are two teams either side, and the fact they weren't even shooting, they were just trying to survive. Didn't get away with this one. Now towards the other side, do we have a fight on hand? They have to try and get the hold out. We'll go towards the free cameras now. We see the team start to push in. It's going to be a breach now into the compound. I need to try and back away here, as they will find safety in the other side of the building. But the question is for how much longer? A sea of bodies, a graveyard shift though, already underway, and yet again they take to the high ground.
Yeah, Slashy getting up there, and this is going to be so important for them. You've got the SVD and you've got the P90 as the two weapons, but can you manage to find that first knock? Because you are struggling when it comes to numbers. Ironside jumps on down, instant knock using the bomb, jumps his way across, almost gets the second, but he is going to get knocked. Aware and Inteller, they're in a battle of their own as Inteller wins that one, and it brings it into a 1 versus 1. Inteller, he's pressing on over. There's a res. He manages to get it, so we're back up to a 2. Gets that instant flush, and it's back up to the 1v1. But is there a third party I see potentially coming in from afar?
Clean. He gets the 1 versus 1. But obviously for the guys, they're able to get the bodies back on the ground. Is it? It is, yeah. As it took a little while for the logo to pop back on. So again, we talked about that recall stuff already. A lot of these teams getting back into the fight now, which is key. But again, it's the outside edge. Let's jump in with Zico though, as he's going to try and hold. Potentially taking a 4 versus 1 on. He needs help. He needs support quickly.
Yeah, he's got the custom SCW though, and that thing with 26 rounds, it hits like a truck. But you got to make sure you hit every single shot. Santa Elite doesn't know he's there. Santa Elite's going to be the first target, gets the instant flush. That's all he could do. He's got himself cracked. He's going to use the edge. He gets felled, but look, Mark, that was all about just getting the kill. For him at that point, get the kill. But his two teammates now, the next ones are going to get focused on.
Well, Zico had the opportunity, right? He got the knock, he got the flush, he turned around, and unfortunately for him, he got pushed out of circle. So very, very difficult. If it was a little bit 30 seconds before, half a minute, give or take, he might have found himself on the ridge and safety running with his team. But his team, though, they are on the retreat, but they also run into multiple battles. Initial sniper will come through, not just 1, but 2. Has to dip in towards the cover, but it's a bloodbath. They cleared 1. They don't get the reload in time, and they are fighting uphill with the team on their back.
Yeah, nice shots coming in from Fats as she's able to just do some real damage onto the Gambit roster. King Adrian, he's going to try to get Fats as she jumps on down, but Fats gets her second on the fight using the Vector, putting in some really good work and clearing up some space. Can they now get the redeploy? Over on Golf Course though, Gavu, or French team, Team Nebula, coming under heavy pressure, and it looks like it's Rustenmar and them putting in some work as well.
Yeah, they've got the opportunity now to provide that cover, right? Long distance come through. They've been sent to zone for some time. Haven't really got too much involved. As I said, everyone is fighting on the outside edge. The fight for the Golf Course, though, underway. High ground has been taken. The shots will come through. It's the connection. Gibson does he get the knock?
Yeah, Lamoette just trying to dance around with that SVDM and the SCW. Akali the same. They spot out one of the players inside, but can they find that next knock? The Tub feeding so much information here. Akali working from spot to spot. Might get the opportunity for that first knock, but he just can't quite get the angle as he's not stepping out of the clubhouse.
He's not. He's just on that corner. He did come out for a second. I can hear the footsteps. I know where it's going to be. Smoke will be deployed. That might give the opportunity now to just kind of breach out, but they've already jumped down there. They're going to go in for the breach. They're taking the fight straight to the guys. Dr. Hell Dog, though, he's backed up. A dog in a corner. He might need a bit of a bone here.
Yeah, there's going to be the first shots fired in anger. He gets one with the SCW, but he's instantly trailed back on the other side. Defib gets Vorn back up, but Tronock back on the ground once more. Lamoette working through it. Great job on this engagement. They managed to get the team wiped, and then we're going to get on the move once more. Looks like Unknown in the air has been putting in a lot of work with that little bird as well. He's just going to go into UAV mode, work out where anybody might be. They might spot the team rotating on the edge here, Mark, and they'll be able to hold them out.
They've been in the center for a while. They've not been fed the kills that we saw from the other game, right? So good play. Obviously, as you say, up in the little bird, Unknown gets that kind of UAV, as we call it, the opportunity to farm the information. Now they can see there's two teams pushed in from that south side. Obviously, Jude on that rotation round on that southwest gets caught out by Rustenmar. Has to take the opportunity for a bit of a breather, a bit of a replay. But this does give the opportunity. Rustenmar gets the move. He now knows exactly where they are. Will jump out on the bombs, but doesn't quite get the connection. He's trying to work out exactly which rock they're behind.
Yeah, Rustenmar getting some damage here with the toxic smoke as well. Gets one out in the open, but misses the chance to get that instant knock. But you can see they're trying to go for the mobile redeploy. Rustenmar will chamber another gas grenade, trying to keep them out. Yaji, the last player alive for the side. I think that the fire is going to deal with that mobile redeploy. And to be honest, it looks like it just might be that for Yaji. And I think it is. I think he's just going to go down to the zone here. Yeah. He's going to deny. I think that's the right thing to do. Yaji will fall. It's another squad wipe, and we're into our top 7.
Top 7 underway. That opening has given us the guys to sort of push in. Rustam obviously drawing the attention down towards that southwest side, so the breach into the buildings. A lot of explosive action. Gas comes back over, and the gas, as we know, can have that big impact, but the charge has to come. And the one and only player loves to do it. Unknown, already putting that front step forward.
Yeah, Callie, we saw him do some good things back over by golf course, but now it's Unknown's attempt. We should call him the best player in REDSEC at the minute, hitting headshots for fun, peeking his way around side. He has that extended mag on the M4, manages to get that kill confirmed. That's going to be another point. He's going to use the launcher to try and get it done, but he's going to get both plates destroyed. Gagod on the flank, trying to help out Unknown as he's still the point man, and Page gets himself in the action. Page is going to get dealt with by Golden Mike, but Fusker instantly dealt with at the other side. Defib on 1. This is a big battle between 2 of our top teams. 6-7 on the field, taking on TBA. Gagod got those reses, but can they stay in the fight? Rustenmar, the last player standing.
Yeah, last player standing, massive defib. They have to come back in to return the favour, so they're back up to a 2 now, but they've got the clear space just to double check. Bit of a non-clean battle. It was a bit scrappy, but for them, they get the opportunity. The redeploy will be down, and they will have the time now to work their way in. 4 teams now remain here. Gibson, no. 11 players left alive, and for Gar's team, they'll be back up to full force shortly.
Yeah, that mobile redeploy came in clutch for them last time, and it's going to do the same again. Gavu making it back into the top 4 for his side once more as we watch Jude, Beezy, and the rest of the crimey beans. They have all 4 players up, and they've got the traverser, and they are going to just dive bomb into the center of the circle. Maybe they're going to move up to that anti-material. They see that. Oh, they're moving. They see Gavu. They know he's in golf course, and they're pushing in to clean him out.
It's difficult for Gavu. He's by himself now, right? So this is a kind of a one in exchange where possible. I can't see him sneaking out, especially at north or south side. Going for the engineer opportunity to try and get that open, but that would be a massive, massive sound cue for them. Already spotted, already waiting. He's making a lot of noise, but the zone will apply the pressure.
Yeah, Gavu is gone prone. Now, he has the SCW. The problem that he has is unless he's fully locked in with getting headshots, he will not get the extra point for the flush if he's able to find that knock. So, at this point, it's just Operation Survive. He sees his teammate's body in front of him. There might be some more plates, but when like Caldas and these guys know that there's somebody below them, they're not going to get too aggressive. But look at this. We got a third party as Tony Monada and his team are going to move on in, and Teller, Dazio, and Leshy.
This might give Godfrey the opportunity, right? If they get caught in a barrage of fighters, they drop down and try to replay, he might get the opportunity. They're very cautious. Godfrey obviously going to hear those drops now coming down as these guys go for that reposition, but it is that third party, is that push coming further afield. They've gone for the grabs. He's seen a player, but they're giving the no-tell signs that they actually know he's here. He sees another one goes through. There's 1, 2, 3. He might have the opportunities. He's not moving that much. The guy's going to move on, and for Godfrey, he gets an extra life.
For Gavu, this could be the opportunity to ruin somebody else's game. Kaleidos is just ahead of him. He doesn't seem to have any idea whatsoever that there's somebody so close. Grabbing center of the circle here, Knight, which is of course Gaz's team, looking to maybe lock down the rest of the map as another shield drop will land, helping these teams out. But with 4 teams left alive, we've got 2 full stacks, a solo, and another full stack. This is looking like, oh yeah, I think there's going to be third party central. These 2 fights are going to kick off, and then Gaz's team will rock in.
Gaz's team is completely free in zone. No one wants anything to do with it. Godfrey's on the way. Here's the car now moving. Gets the opportunity to go for that play out, but he's staying close towards the edge. He's staying as clean as he can. He needs to try and eke out as many placement points as he can. And for him, unfortunately, the high ground taken up with Gold Force is not doing him any favors.
Gavu still just working his way through the clubhouse. Dazio in trouble here as well. They're going to try to at least get 1 player back up, 3 alive. Dazio's going to get cracked as shots come in from afar, and you run into the wailing arms of Abu. Abu's going to get that knock, and it's going to get flushed out by Jude. Page getting involved as well. It's going really, really badly. with this roster on the edge of the circle. 3 teams left alive now. Jude putting in the work on the side. Gavu is still alive, sneaking in on the other side. Can Gavu ruin this fight for Castle?
I'm really concerned. I'm really concerned because they're going to jump off. Goffrey's there right behind, and at what point does he have the discipline? He's got to hold for as long as he can. I think he's hit the spray. They now know they've had to turn around. He's taking the element of high ground. This barrage of shots come through, and it's not going to be the case. It's not worked out. He didn't get the confirm, and now he's looking for anything he can find.
Yeah, Hipfire managed to do a little bit of damage, but Rustan Mar's able to get him with that toxic smoke, and now that makes it a 4 versus 4 for the win. Rustan Mar's launcher, he's going to get one, and it's instantly flushed on the edge as TBA look to go back to back. Another launcher fired, another shot from Unknown. Unknown is going to fall, though he gets Abu, but he's going to get traded back on the other way, tricking them, keeping them trapped into the corner of the circle now. They go for the defib. It's a 3 versus 2. Gagod going to get another one. He gets down on the edge, but Page gets it done.
What a victory, for the guys. And look, let's bring back the legend Whippet. What a game for them, right? Whippet. They held that zone for so long. I know you might not have seen it because of how bad my observing is, but they were there for so long. They held for a period of time, and eventually these teams opted not to go their way. We saw the fight in golf course, and it was messy. Unlucky for Godfrey.
I feel like that was the ballad of Govu a little bit, just seeing what he can do, and he kind of teased us a little bit, but unfortunately, he didn't have that spectacle moment, that huge play, but he does get his team a higher place. When he went from 4th place to 3rd place, that one step up is a few extra points for his side, and he almost spelled spoiler, but once again, it feels like we're living in a bit of deja vu. It's a position where Gaga Squad TBA are able to get a strong victory, and a very different story this time around. Previously, they were able to, yes, use their mechanics, but able to slow things down and read the circle play. This time, as you said, Mark, they were left uncontested and just posed and struck at the perfect moment.
Look, for me, Gibson, we're no pros, right? We're still trying to figure the game out, like a lot of these players in here. But it does feel like Gar's team is definitely a step elite, maybe half a football field ahead, right? What could you do? How would you break down that team? Like, what would, in the situation, especially if you're coming from golf course, is it a case that you've got to deny at that point? Or is it a case, actually, there might be other opportunities that other teams are just not exploiting?
I think it's more just time and experience thing. Like we pointed out earlier, almost every single player on that team have played competitive esports in other games. So Unknown, I think he played a bit of the Tarkov 5v5 mode that we had for a while. Arena, yeah. So he played Arena. You've obviously got Paige and Rustamar who played in PUBG for a long time, way back on the days of, I think even Ents going back that far. But it's just going to be time, right? A team like that's going to make small increases, right, and improvements. Everyone else is going to make leaps and jumps. So that gap to them is going to close relatively soon, the more and more teams practice and scrim. It's just a case of reps. Like, I don't think that they're going to be this far ahead come a month or two as everyone else starts to get their feet before they more. It's just that little bit of extra esports experience they have.
Well, you can get your esports experience by typing !Fireteam into chat, and hopefully Gibson has got the command on because he told me off for not putting it on. You'll be able to get a link to the Fireteam Discord. Get yourself involved, great community, and obviously you can sign you and your team up to get involved in the scrims. Let's have a quick break. These games are turning around pretty quickly. We do have 6 games. That was match number 2, so more coming up. We'll see you guys in a few.
gon' make you move. We gon' make you lose. We gon' make you move. So baby, let's jump in tonight. Let me get funky.
It is time to get ready for match number 3. It's me, we're back on the microphone, and for the very first time, I've got the privilege of being joined by the wonderful Mark Power. He's not only our wonderful producer, but he is fighting demons to get us the best view on the Observer Cam. How's it been going so far, Mark?
It's good. We've casted before, though, right?
If we have, it eludes my memory as of right now.
I thought we were friends, bro. No, I'm not sure. I'm only for your leg. I'm good, mate. I've enjoyed that last game. It's very chaotic, and again, alluding to the point, there's lots of fights on the outside edge. I'm feeling compared to that sort of mid pack, and it comes back into what we said. That God team, they're able just to sit in the middle, right? And they are just clean. No one's taking a fight. So there's different teams, different strategies, but yet this is scrim number 3.
Feels like the night's truly flying by, and well, for the teams stuck in Marina, I have a feeling it'll be a fairly quick engagement there this time around. South of Golf Course, that's going to be Gaggo's side. Night Squad in our in-game HUD, but that's going to be TBA, and they've got a lot of pressure arriving from this as well. Hop on board here with Monkey and just see what he can find at this stage. Now, of course, Golf Course is hot. 2 teams here, and that early scrap just to look for gear is going to be very important, and you have to be careful who opens up these orange class-based boxes. You don't want your recon to always open up. Sometimes you want the automatic capability, and they'll dodge that for now. Early damage traded off, and Monkey's going to try and drop down. Just dodges that shot as it whizzes overhead. He falls away, but a very aggressive push so far, as Kryborg has a great position on that high ground with the brand new bolt action. He can try and chip away. Great damage found. Chipping through his plate, but does not find a headshot. I thought that would have landed.
Where's the third party coming from? It came from Narnia. There it comes. Yeah, it's actually King Adrian. And now working out what the button A does. It is those shots. Anyway, they're obviously going to make the move. They've done some damage. They're going to close the gap. Don't forget, we have the recall, so the third party, though, straight underway. And it looks like the guy's already planting the bomb. So on the far side, they're obviously getting the objective. And the fight for Golf Course Whip here is still underway.
Massive, and oh no, the DB12, the nightmare, this horrible semi-auto double barrel shot that's such a pain to work with. Shots do not land quickly. Trades out of infantry as quick as he can, believe it. Got himself an AR as well as an LMG to wrap things up nicely. But Golf Course chaos is what we saw. Artillery landed, even a helicopter's arriving. I believe the Little Bird is next on the scene as we top on board. Eventually the Procane is just going to try and hide in the clubhouse best he can. Whatever is left of the clubhouse at this stage. Kryborg still standing for his side. One member of this purple roster still going.
They're waiting for the guys to come back now, right? This is the big thing. It's a delay tactic. They know there's a third party. For old boy here, just lay down, hold tight. The boy's going to come back. The big decision that he's got is, do the guys land with him? Or is it a case of, do you know what? Actually, I'm gone. Let me go. Just you find somewhere else to go.
I think that's going to be the play here. I don't really think recommitting in the...
Unknown! With the Little Bird. Oh my God, Whip it. He's gone full force.
Oh my goodness. Unknown is really going to put Gibson's claim this charge. He just dives on it with the Little Bird. Finds one of his own. Does get chained away, but that's just going to be the opening. I think that's going to cause chaos in the clubhouse here. LG just tries his best, but caught in a hailstream of rounds. Gets shut down. I don't think his team's got a lot to stand for. Kryborg eventually falls. And well, we see the squad get a nice little defib, full recovery, and control of Golf Course is finally gathered. Nope, I spoke too soon.
I felt like Unknown came in and said, come on, lads, you're on my team for this run. Let's push in and break down the door. He caused a little bit of damage. It wasn't going to be enough now. And unfortunately for the Ghoul, he's going to be left in the morgue. Down and out for them. And Golf Course eventually coming to an end.
Like that fight was an eternity, and that wasn't even one of the hottest drops you see. Marina having 2 teams in close proximity, but very quickly Oyaji is going to have that control, diving up this apartment complex. Team just across from him, and all guns trained on him at this position. Full information, it seems to be gathered. Ladder up to the subroof, looking for whatever he can find at this stage. I'm not sure he has a solid bead on this. Drones deployed to gather some information, but just a rooftop fight trading off. And they do have the better position. This high ground looks straight down towards that awning, and they can begin to chip away at those plates. Better position and a stalemate between both these teams.
Yeah, now the drone up, which might cause a problem. Drone goes down, exchange pretty quickly. So nice try for them. But you're right, that higher ground, that ability that they blocked out using the staircase is forcing Gonvu. He's gone down now. Now, he did survive out. He got third place, though, in that last match. The guys be looking for a good game here, but they need to deal with this fight pretty quickly because, again, we look for a third-party action.
You gotta feel the longer you stay here, the more sounds you make, the more attention you grab, the more chance of that eventual third party arriving. And I think a wise choice here. They're gonna fall out the back of the building, begin the reposition, and an armor drop perfectly placed to replenish any of these plates that have been chipped away at this stage. And it looks like we have a central control point of crash site being held at this point from team of 3 still standing. 2 teams still in Marina. Actually, it's going to be a different one. I believe one team right on the far west side of Marina has just been wiped out. So 3 play teams still in our golden loot zone by Marina. A lot to fight for, but it's going to be a little bit left high and dry. The zone keeps playing out towards the middle zone crash side.
Yeah, I think he's had to cut loose his rubber. He's going to put rubber to the road and make way, as it takes ages to load the feed on that side. There we go. He's out. He's going to get moving and obviously try and put some distance in between him and the remaining squads. Looks like obviously downtown, we know it can be a bit of a barrage of teams. Lots of teams can survive here as they get to move and duke it around. Garage building always just seems to be a high point of interest, but also the high buildings around the down sections give the opportunity not just to get a lot of information in, but able to provide a huge amounts of pressure down the team below.
Small little ladder, but I'm just going to give Raptor just a tiny bit extra elevation to look a little bit deeper down towards it. They do have the overall high ground, but just enough cover on multi-story to keep them in this fight. They control custom weapons, and that's going to time out sooner rather than later. So I imagine they're going to be nice and restocked. Doesn't look like a custom KTS in Raptor's hands, so he might be gagging for a chance to get something a little bit better, but having to force themselves back and a reposition towards the skyscraper, looking for that ultimate high ground position to try and get that pressure on multi-story. Team doesn't seem to be following in close proximity. Maybe looking for a separate push.
I thought he was going for that separate push, actually. I do like this. Look, don't get me wrong. This is quite well known to do this. And I think they were expecting that they're going to try and split the divides and, again, provide that high ground cover. Now, but this is going to expose his team really, really well. Catches him one, potentially going for the knock. He's cracked, and he's trying to find safety. Pedicure, maybe. It's not going to be the case. And he doesn't get that confirmation, but here comes the RPG.
Oh, the bomber just not being ready to use, and they had a great opportunity to try and collapse on this, but a complete reposition now. They hold the high ground here. You have to go up these zip wires to fight for this. Massive audio queue if they commit for it, and I wonder if they're just going to be content to play below and wait for that reposition where the high ground is key at this stage, and I think they're going to maybe bite at the impatient pill. It's the middle of the map, looks to be super heavily occupied as well. Soupy lurking over a fallen enemy.
Yeah, Soupy's trying to find his final player now. Goes for the breach, though. Checks one side. Doesn't quite get it. Gets the sound cue. He's the player, though! And he gets the wipe. Good exchange. Surprise, surprise. No hiding in this bathroom, he says.
Soupy was super close there, and again, the player just lurking in the bathroom, sat nice and prone, motion sensor, couldn't find him out, and he has to do that all on reaction, gets it done, and we'll hop on board with TBA at this point, and it's going to be a difficult position they find themselves in, one team just collapsing onto them, and it's going to be a split approach, as one team's going to take them onto the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Does Gao realize that he spots them out eventually? The LMG has enough ammunition to shred both of them, the team arrive in full support, and finally shut down 2. Massive moment. And they clear out 2 perfectly, full squad wipe, and they have control. But another team lurking just above.
The problem for this team is they're hoping, praying maybe for a knock that they can kind of get on the back foot a bit and cause some damage. There goes a potential RPG, causes a little bit of damage, but not enough to get the knock, though, as he has to try and make the reposition. Rusma holds the line a little bit more out towards that north side. A lot of these teams now trying to lock this down, but it's a difficult cross, though, a huge cross to get over that road.
The SG not going to be ideal to fight that as well, so has to reposition, couldn't find the damage on that opening, and both these teams have this massive opening, this great big old road of open ground, and the only cover to work with is a lonesome custom weapon drop. Page falls back, and I wonder, and this is actually what it looks like to be, they're going to be making a sweeping rotation around to try and find that pressure. They're going to try and split and envelop them and look to find as much pressure as they can. Motion sensor goes down just in case a cross has been found. They'll take it very carefully, looking for a way in. Looks like right now for TBA as well, on ideal loadouts, they haven't got their full customs to work with, and a full reset of this fight as everyone's back to their team balls, and they'll reset, new buildings to work with, new cover, but still full team standing for both these rosters.
Yeah, it's not bad play, right? Sometimes the fight doesn't kind of work out how you want it, and it does take an opportunity to go, actually, you know what? We don't need to push over this road. We just need to try and wait. Now, in the kill feed, obviously, Gargoyle will be lighting up, and Old Boy does go down. So, obviously, for the team, again, it's like, hey, they're engaging. Like, where are they engaging from? We can hear shots coming out from the field. We've done the right thing. We've disengaged from this fight. We're going to move in for zone.
I think you put that perfectly. It was a difficult fight for both those teams, so why bother sticking into it? They can try and reset themselves. Does look like a mission getting called out here towards Crash Site. Maybe trying to get a reset, maybe look for custom weapons, or ideally for these sides at this stage, maybe even getting that mobile respawn station to work with. Looks like there's going to be teams crashing soon at the bottom of this multi-story car park. Lots of pressure found, and he's just going to try and sprint on around. I don't know what's happened, but Triple H has to fall back at this stage. Full reset, has to plate, has to find his energy back, and has to repivot. 3 bodies still standing down below, so they're going to be at a massive disadvantage. 3v2, and I wonder, will it be another case of a reposition and just trying to keep your life in tow being the better call?
Yeah, good play from them, actually using the building to their advantage, knowing they haven't got the line of sight, jumping off that side. Really, really good play. Well rehearsed, well moved. They're on the tiptoe, though. Triple H, though, has to keep moving. He has to be cautious. He has the zip line. I think he'll be looking to try and take it. But unfortunately for him, it's slightly, well, it's going to be close for him if he tries to get in. I think he can't make it, so he has to loopy-loop the back round. And unfortunately, he has to take a head-to-head battle here with it.
There's very little he can do. He has around 5 meters of wiggle room at this point, and all the guns looking straight towards zone. They hold the high ground. There's nothing Triple H could do. Shredded in a second. Shut down, and his team run ends here. Place 18th for them at this point. Still a massive pivot. They're going to run straight into another fight. So they're back with Raptor here, running into a team immediately. SCW10, no, the Scorpion shredding one. Needs to reposition and replate himself quickly before more pressure arrives, but showing the potency of this SMG in those close quarter fights, and he's looking to find even more.
It's one thing I did learn, though, watching Jurassic Park. Raptors do not hunt alone. He has the team. He's got them split. He's now looking to try and close the way in. The team is divided, but potentially looking for the conquer. There comes that replay. He does obviously have just like barrage from behind, but I think they're just at the moment trying to get those sound cues. The bomber gets loaded up, and it might just put explosive ending. He goes for the opportunity, but no, the gas turns him away.
That VL7 so potent as well. You stay in that too long, you begin to lose your wherewithal about what is real. He's got his teammate back with the defib and enough time to fall back. He hasn't got any plate damage so he can reset, but again, they're down to 2. Difficult position to work with, and again, a full pressure of a 3-stack bearing down on them, and they're still on that perimeter of zone. Mid-map looks to be super occupied as well. A difficult fight, dancing around in armor, and well, you mentioned the RPG, or the engineer might be weak. The engineer has that range with the RPG, doesn't work out this time as well. She gets a reposition, and he got his armor plates from that drop.
Problem is, though, he's getting pressure on both sides, so they have to try and dig back in deep. So they can hear the footsteps on the outside. The RPG obviously hitting the building, so there's no illusion as to where they are. They're going to make the push. They get the first one. Now they look back, though. Gas marks are going to be play, and it is match set point for them as they say goodnight.
Very clinical fight. Perfect timing to be able to flush that one out. They heard the activity just below them, and they crash into it, shut that down. A few extra points added to their tally. We're just outside of our top 10 at this stage, and it looks like, once again, a very similar story as you look at that overview. It's going to be TBA holding that mid-ground, but more contesting that initial circle. A lot of teams still fighting on that perimeter. Marina, downtown, all remaining hot at this stage. So a lot of teams here early. Still likely fighting over that control. Top of this ridgeline. Outfist needs to be very careful what he wants to contest here. ATS going to be perfect to work with. These tracers from a second fight, and he can try and capitalize on this potential third party to work with, and with all the attention trained away to behind them, perfect time to slip behind enemy lines.
Yeah, I think they just saw their head, didn't they, right? Oh, God's online. It's a friend of mine. They obviously do find the opportunity. Actually, the player now, what they haven't seen is they've come back down the hill. They're going to take the opportunity now to get that airstrike back in. It's going to cause some problem, but does get the information towards them. There comes the ladder, and now they try and charge over. That's that recall. Res Beacon not going to, I suppose, get away with it as cleanly as they would like, but the airstrike, though, is going to be slightly too short.
Doesn't quite work the way it wanted. Oh! That was a huge RPG, finding a great connection. I'm going to force them down to the low ground. Half HP, no plates to work with, and they're
Oh, he's not
playing
making that. You're dead,
tantalizingly
mate.
close to the edge of the zone mark. I don't think he's going to make it. Is he going to make it? No. Yes. He
Yes,
did.
he is. He's a legend.
What?
He's made of steel, though. He doesn't melt under the pressure like we do. Whip it. Well, eventually he messes under the pressure, though, because he gets shot in the back by, but the rest will have to come back in. But it's not going to come back in time, and they're running, but they're running out of time. Another team will now fall as the rest are set up. They can hear the commotion coming their way. And, well, for the king has the throne to hold.
King Adrian, great position. High ground and SVD has to work with, but he has to concede it. Pressure of the zone jumps away, and he's going to arrive on the laps of another team waiting for that pressure. They shut him down, flush him out so early, and this is going to leave the rest of his squad in a horrible position, running on the trailing edge of the fire, and they're going to get hunted down like it's sport. Unknown on the kill feed, going huge there for the side of TBA as well. Just doing a great job holding that pressure. Oh, come on, Mark.
There's too much going on! There's too many buttons to press on! Anyway, go back towards the action though, and it is more in towards zone. Reload doesn't that quite happen. The team obviously make the pressure, and it's about stacking up. There comes the execution. The information is going to be gained. Actually, the final player is now tucking tail and running, but they can hear more team coming in as it's a third party, a fourth party, as the edge of the zone gives way.
This fight has been unrelenting on the edge in the middle of this industrial complex, and you got to find a great reposition. Looks like two bodies off the distance as well, looking to try and stack into this, playing deeper on the edge. They have a chance to try and flush in if these two teams meet. The Traverser gets picked up, all the attention drawn on that one, and that's going to pivot a massive fight. SCW10 shreds through one, runs into an army of more, has to try and find a way to dance between this and his teammates, flush in to try and find that support. Sabotage means that Traverser is a no-go, but a massive trade-off from both these players. SCW10 traded off, and now the team playing on the edge mark have a great chance to collapse, but the recovery likely be made.
I think the coverage already made. They're just like half a second behind this one. They've got the reset. They've got the revive. Here comes the push now. Two holding the wall, and they don't have much more left. But now it comes in with the RPG. Traverser obviously already cooked. The smoke comes out, but they are under huge amounts of pressure. Checks for one. Doesn't get the opportunity. And now got third party, fourth party, fifth party. Oh no, here comes Paige and the boys from TBA.
That is the last thing you want to hear if you're Squinty, with Paige and the rest of TBA holding high ground, but they still have their own worries out towards Crash side. RPG goes out to try and find one and just misses onto one. Blue Hawk still standing for his side, but he's got a lot of open space to work with and not a lot of cover. Last man standing, and can he rat out an extra position for his side as he drops prone? We'll try and wait. Squinty, the Traverser, might spot him out.
I think he'd be all right here. I generally do. The Traverser's going to take the higher ground. They've got a split, so they're going to be really focused and fixated on the team that's below them. Time. Going to push him out this location, right? Let's not take anything away. But for Blue Hawky, like, he's all right. He's made a nest. He can sit tight. He might have an explosive, and with all the action happening up the high ground, he's getting a bit of a pass.
Also got to think, right? Team's going to likely know that if you're running into the likes of Paige, Gaga, the TBA are there. That's going to have a massive mark knowing they're top of the hill. Gives Blue Hawk a chance to play nice and patient. Nolan finds a great defib and one more of his own. SCW10 shreds him, but unfortunately he gets shut down eventually. Everett gets that. Now two bodies still standing. Paige and Rustamon. The Traverser arriving on the scene. Let's try and cause as much chaos as possible. Creates another layer of cover. AR in the hands of Paige. Shreds one. Great conversion there. Needs to try and flood this to find that final pickup, but he gets shut down. A great grenade launcher going out to find that damage, and it brings us down to a simple 1v1.
Do we have an answer? Do we have an answer for TBA? So 1 versus 1. I wouldn't back out at the moment, but Ava's going to be there. The shots come through the top, but clicks dry at the very end. That was critical moments, and he has the opportunity. It's a 1-2 back up under shoe, and see you later. Paige Ristamar, hold the line. Cheeky Rez comes underway, but they're going this one as a duo.
Oh, actually, maybe not a duel for long, Mark. They have that mobile respawn, but they're playing on a very close proximity to the edge of the zone. I don't think they're going to get full value from it. The SVD shreds one. He's up on a fraction of health, and actually a second at mobile respawn going off as well. So both teams, or two teams here, fighting for recovery. Top four at this point once again, and it feels like another case of deja vu. TBA in a great position to close this one out, but I think the zone's going to work against them. So tantalizingly close to that mobile respawn, and it's only just halfway through its timer as we see some pressure arriving. They're forced to take a fight and can't defend for much longer. Paige is wounded, and oh, with a ladder in his hand, Aaron House, he might have just spelled his own demise. The sound cue is there. They will arrive on the scene, eventually finding him, but can he play the spoiler? He finds one, and that's going to be a disaster, but the recovery is there. Defib was huge, and a reset for TBA.
And they get a complete free swipe on that sort of south side of that zone. It's a good play from them. 4 teams now remain for the Castle team. As the bomb goes to the top to get the confirmation that they want to, but the bodies are sitting on the other side of the fence, and that other side of the fence is not going to be great for much longer, though. Jude has to hold, get the information, but the angles are fully exposed here from Team Knight as they will continue to apply pressure and sweep the zone.
They also managed to find the respawn. The mobile respawn worked out for them, but as they look towards the sky, the KTS need to find as much damage as possible. Difficult to try and find those shots. Huge damage on Leon, as it will be TTS. It's going to be Costas trying to put that pressure on, as it's going to be a horrible position for all these teams in the midst of smoke, flame, and cover, and such undulating terrain, and a great high ground position to fire straight down into our TBA. Finding one, knocks one onto unknown. No finish found at this stage, but Gagon has to make a deep rotation with limited space to work as the zone begins to hunt them down. They're down by 1, and have they found that recover on the unknown? They have. They're back to full strength once again, but plate's going to become an issue in the late stage after so many respawns from that mobile respawn.
The thing is, they've got to get over that wall, right? And they're look, struggling with ammo. That's a big factor. They've had to drop down that opportunity to get looted back up, though. Vasu moves his way back down. Now tries to expose the angle. Rustamar is going to be down. He's going to be knocked out from that position as well, as they do get the opportunity to continue to sweep, and the pressure continues on towards TBA. They get the instant rest. This team keeps bodies back up, and it's wonder why they're getting swamped and they can't be finished.
Oh no, the last one standing.
They're down. They're down. They nearly went for a triple, and do you know what? The instant reses were outstanding from that TBA team, right? But it wasn't going to be the case. Castle would take the victory. Let's bring him back, that legend so-called Gibson. Oh, what a game. We asked for a team to have an answer against TBA, and we just got it under the heat of the final circle.
No, that was unbelievable, right? Away we watched the Crimey Beans. That's the team name. So they're down under Castle, but Crimey Beans is the team name. Like, BZ was phenomenal. I think Colitis was really good as well. They were watching talk. What I liked about that was the lack of panic, right? You looked at the position that TBA found themselves in, using the wall. You knew you were never really going to be able to instantly flush those players once they were knocked behind, but you could deny the plates, right? So keep breaking plates. Whippet called it. You left them in a situation where they were jumping into fights at the end with nothing, and you gave yourself a massive chance to win. So massive credit to them. But again, there's so many other teams, Mark, but I'm just really impressed with, right? Like, I think Team Nebula have done a lot of really good things on the night. I think another team we highlighted earlier, but I want to highlight them again, is Team Rocket, right? With Paige on it, with Rage on it. Like, they're all having their individual moments. But one thing's for sure, REDSEC Esports, there's no breaks. It's just go, go, go.
That's one thing I found, Whippy, is it felt like, again, it's those fight on the outside edge. Yes, obviously people are getting pushed by the zone, but it's fight after fight after fight. And for a battle royale, it's not as long as I expected it to be. And it's definitely a learning curve here that the pressure in this lobby is high.
Every single team wants to be able to put the next team in the chain under pressure. They hear a gunfight and there's no thinking about it. It's essentially run towards the shots. If we get a third party, huge, and even better if we're the fourth. We can clean up even more of these fights. And I think the big thing for me is these golden drop zones have been so hot for so long. Marina was contested the entirety of that match until the circle played it out of control. And everyone wanted to be in those positions. And I think as we see them tonight evolve, teams will have their preferences for their drop positions, but things might be dictated for where those gold goes, because we have seen teams be able to get great gear off of that world drops immediately and have early advantages in those fights. And Marina was a joy to watch as every single team seemingly wanted a piece of the action there.
Right, let's have a quick break. We know the turnaround's pretty quick. We've already got 89 people in the lobby. Don't go anywhere. Actually, do you know what? Go run and get a quick drink. A very, very quick drink, because we ain't got a lot of time. I'll see you in match number 4.
don't believe what the timer tells you, folks. We're back with another one, and this one is going to be fun. Game 4 on the night whip, but we've seen the same team prevalent in the top 3 every time, as TBA have won maps 1 and 2 in a second in the second game, but Crimey Beans, they've been all action so far as well.
I feel like this has been an all-action lobby. It's been so quick to contest, and honestly, feels like we haven't had a chance to catch our breath yet. And this might be the quietest time of the lobby as they hop on board here with Soupy and the rest of the squad, dropping straight into defense at this stage. Now, defense not going to go gold this time. Area 22 is going to go gold for the rest of these teams. To see a lot of them crashing in towards it. Defense next seems to be fairly uncontested. Only one team, to my knowledge, playing there, and actually 2 teams scrapping down on the south with the brand new POI, the USS Grant, the aircraft carrier, added in this update, finding some early action. I haven't even seen this one played so far, and it looks like it's going to be a chaotic one. Internal structure of the aircraft carriers that's stranded on the beach of Southern California here in Fort Lyndon. It's going to be a tricky one for both these sides, really.
Any teams that I've watched drop here on scrims or like streams have just died straight away today, so I don't really know how it's going to work. But Caspian is the Polish roster. Polish Eagles will get into work. Hip fire from Gandalf. He'll get the first knock in that push, and they'll instantly flush that one up. But the problem here with it is they're in a race against time. The red zone is here. The firestorm has arrived. So have the gunshots, and we have a squad wiper down to 22 squads already, by the way, as yeah, and Picure somehow managed to get out of that area of the map, and I don't know how, because the flames were right on their toes.
Very lucky to get themselves out of that one indeed, Gibby. And again, I'm very intrigued about how that new POI is going to work for these teams. It's going to be very difficult to work with, and well, back to what we can see from this. Area 22 is going to be so contested, team on the high ground playing with those trenches, and it looks like defense, all of red line, just so uncontested and free. The mid-map feels very open and not open for anyone's control at this stage. Artillery strike right in the middle of this ground. Look at this team holding high ground, and unsure of what roster that is, but they can just fire straight down to the bowl as a team trying to make that cross straight across the airfield will find so much pressure, and this is just like shooting fish in the barrel. Hope your sniper rifles are ready for the action, as the SVD is trying to, the SBS is trying its best to find those shots. Nothing quite connecting yet.
I wish it was fish in a barrel, but Lamouette, he's going to drop his way on down here now as they look to bring the fight to one of the rosters. The gas mask being used as they deploy the smokes just to work their way closer in. Lamouette's got the VCR ready to go. Spots out one, jumps on board, managed to get a couple of headshots in. 1 kill confirmed, but he's going to get traded on the other side as he's going to fall. But there's only 1 player left alive, and it's Squinty on the other side, area 22B, as we have 2 fights going head to head. I think Squinty lost his life. So team 6-7, they'll jump back on the helicopter and get back in. But what can a resident snake Govu do?
Well, he's been able to find him miracles before, but I unfortunately think there's just going to be too many players to hunt him down. He does find one, look for a second, but unfortunately, I don't believe he even found the flush there this time. So he gets shut down, his squad gets wiped, but with all that action still happening out by the airfield, there's still more teams contesting it. Out by range practice, though, Old Boy's going to be able to find one, and that's going to be a difficult position now. The rest of the team begins to collapse into some great spray control from the Broad. They find a great amount of damage, and just looking to get that control. Great spray. Still not love I find that knock initially, but chipping through plates and not a lot of them to work with in the early stages here. Gibson should be a knock, is going to be a knock, down to 2 players.
Yeah, going to switch on over, but he's going to get traded on the other side. Kakuru is able to find one, and now Monkey, the last player up for Cats, and he's going to dip into cover. I think he just about got the fight done. It's a 1v1 now. As wrapping around the side, he got the res. He's going to fall. Last battle. Can these 2 go in? He's going to melee him. He hits him with the knife. Otter takes down Tazzy. He gets the res. And Otter, on from, Team Otter, by the way. He's not going to scratch his own back too much with that team name, but he gets it done.
Sends his team straight to the face with that EOD arm as well. Bonks them with it. Full reset for his squad. And they got that initial control early. Actually, there are going to be 1 player down, and he's going to get eventually reset. As he's now back in the fray at this point, using his second chance to get into it. Feels like things have been very aggressive so far in this lobby, Gibson. We're down to 19 teams still standing. So lots of early action and running straight out towards combat training to find that mission objective.
Look at the zone, right? The center of this circle is between combat and seal. This is so far over towards the edge of the map. So what we'll see a lot of teams do, like Castle, is get in the Little Bird and just scout, take the high ground, use this ridgeline to look all the way over the map. That's what Collis is going to do, and they've got a wonderful sight line now inside of combat training, and I think this is really good positioning from this team, because the only way a team's going to backfill them is if they've got a little bird of their own.
This is such a dominant position, and realistically, while you're not going to get as many kills you'd have wanted, you're going to get so much extra placement, so if the zone is going to be favorable to you, you want to keep on that eastern side of the map out towards those fields. Just to hold on to it. We'll jump on board here with the fight. This looks like Rinks is going to be very difficult here. Team Otter, down 2 players so far. We're going to find that recovery. Here, a respawn going off in the distance. There's going to be 2 players in this compound just looking for that initial control. And all of Training Ground is going to be incredibly hot here as Rustamar and Page and the rest of TBA begin to collapse. They find one as the building begins to crumble. And here comes the unrelenting wave of pressure from TBA. Gargod leads the charge, finds one, look for a second, spots the player climbing towards the roof. The LMG should shred him, nearly does, takes him down to a single point of HP, but Page has been knocked in the middle of the action and gets recovered up by Gargod. Breezy, last one standing for squad, all the way alone on the top of the building.
Yeah, our top 2 teams from the last map going head to head, but that second chance is going to be called in now for the side of Castle, as they will look to just keep everyone up. The Crimey Beans just holding their own, and Beezy still has his second chance, so he'll wait for the rest of the team to come back, then he can take on the fight. Unknown's going to climb on up, but it's Unknown, man. A nade from Rostenmar, a climb coming in from Unknown. And that is a clean. I don't know why they give up that position. I think they wanted to chase the kill points, but now turning our attention back towards area 22B, and PETA is in a ton of problems here as we got multiple teams driving on by.
We got Traverser just causing chaos, artillery strike by the relays, and of course this full team occupying the ATC's tower. So much high ground control, they've actually dropped off the main tower at this point. Custom weapon in the midst of this, and the team that was previously up on top of the ATC tower has dropped down to recover a custom weapon. They finished their mission, they get the reward, and the loadout should be basically complete at this point. A second custom weapon is out by the seal, and I think they're going to be recovering to this main tower. Dominant position they can hold if the zone keeps favorable towards them, but at this stage, he's going to be beginning to choke out towards the eastern side.
Yeah, Triple H and Mude from Team Mena are working their way across the other side of Area 22B, spotting out Richt and PETA on the edge of that right round. And Triple H is going to stay in the fight, standing in the open for now. He has the SVD. He's got that advantage of how heavy those single fire taps are going to hit, and now they're going to push aggressively. But PETA, he's going to find the knock onto one, instantly traded back on the other side by Triple H. And now Yaji, he's going to work to regroup. Really well done by Mena, but is there going to be a third party?
There's sake, you want to hope not, but a difficult fight, edge of zone. F2 Fallen is going to find so much damage taken, and well, the Traverser just scrapes away from him. And unfortunately, nothing they can do to save him at this stage. That Traverser, the lone survivor of the squad, and lots of damage on the edge of the zone. KTS finding great value, 118 damage found. Teammate does collect that final pickup, nicely done, as they have that control. Custom weapon does get used up at this point, and well, Gibby, I won't ask you to pronounce the name in Cyrillic, but it's going to be the lone survivor at this point.
I'm going to call them cot packs. That's what I'm going to go for. You down? You down? We in agreement?
Yeah, you know what, Gibby? Let's go with it. That's on you.
Yeah, cot packs. Let's go. Find out now that's an obscene word and we'll be in a lot of trouble. But anyway, they'll make their way in here with it, and I think they might not be for too long in the world, because just up the road towards that driveway that takes you up towards radar, we can see another team, and he's going to get in the bike. This is just a signal to the lobby that a guy's on the move.
His engine sound will echo through the valleys, and it will just be like ringing the dinner bell. And no one really going to pay him a lot of attention at this point as he charges up the main road. Everyone's going to know he's here, Gibson, but he's been left uncontested, and well, happy days, up full reposition. Hopefully he can manage to make this one work.
I hope so. Every time Mark brings the camera a certain side, we get the exhaust kicked back on it, but he's going to try to regroup with the rest of his team as you see them make it. It looks like, I think they're going to potentially get the customs, get some plates. You can see a few teams are still currently hiding inside of bunker, waiting for the perfect moment to come up and strike as well. We have a player in this lobby called Hail Jesus, by the way. Come on, man.
I mean, listen, if you're going to go up against Unknown and Gargod squad, you might need all the help you can get when it comes down to it. And well, it's going to be a difficult fight towards the hangars. Two teams collapsing on it at this point, and lots of pressure. Now, of course, we see so many smokes, and that's just going to be the fact that you're forced to bring these support players. These smokes going to give a great concealment across these very difficult sections of terrain, and this will be a very difficult zone, beginning to emerge all around the airfield, making it very nasty indeed. Well, let's go fight out by Solar Farm, and it's going to be a horrible position pinned between two teams and a wall of flame creeping up your back. Not going to be an easy one for Greasy.
Yeah, the thing for Greasy, though, is if he keeps hitting the shots, even if he's not getting flushes, again, it's the war of attrition. Removing plates from your opposition, weakening them for later on in the game, so hopefully you and your team can pick up some points. It looks like Ghoul, he's going to find a knock of his own, but I think for Ghost at this point in time, it's just about survival. 2 players alive, you've still got 13 teams left. Oh, replay.
Yeah, that's not working.
We're getting a... We're getting a peek at Mark's custom weapon there. He's cooking, trust me. No one's seen the likes of what he's managed to brew up so far. But the zone just creeping out towards the kind of middle of nowhere.
Redeploy. Look at the swarm on the redeploy.
Oh my. Oh no, that is going to be a nightmare for anyone involved, and they're going to be playing down in the bunkers by Solar Farm, meaning there are limited ways out, limited ways in. Going to be a horrible one for the teams down at the base of this, so there's going to be a lot of pressure just as everyone's scrapping for that redeploy at this stage. Going to be a full team here, and it's going to be Captain actually with a full squad. We saw them earlier, they wiped the USS Grant, but they're back in the fight at this stage, looking to cause some chaos. The zone begins to creep out, and that's going to force 2 squads together, but one of those squads, luckily, down in the depths of base Linden, yet to be detected.
The longer that goes on, though, the more trouble it's going to be, because there's very few points of exit available to them as that firestorm just gets closer and closer to their spot. As we move on, though, it looks like we've got 3 teams over by combat, one of them Team TBA, but speeding settings, just trying to survive. Operation Don't Die is what he's trying to go for. I think Gagod did wipe them out, so there's only 2 teams now by the edge. Can speeding settings just don't... No, they've seen him. Gagod knows. Whip it. He's a dead man.
They've said something. They've smelt him. They know he's there. And, well, they're going to be on the hunt from it. Now, I don't know if they're aware it's only a singular player. And judging from the caution that Gagod's showing right now, I think he's taking his time. It's going to be the right approach. You don't know what you're up against. You don't know if it's solo or full stack, trying to keep themselves in composure. But all the guns trained on this position. 3 bodies in close proximity. 1 playing a little bit further back. I believe that's going to be Paige. And they're just playing this perfectly. It's so easy to look at this go, oh my god, why are they not pushing the singular guy? But they've got no idea what they're up against.
Yeah, and they know where he is too. They're just waiting for the push in, right? They're using the buildings. They
Great
don't
control, by the way. Look at the way they've set this up. Perfect net.
Yeah, but they don't want to give up a knock, you see. They want to just make sure they get the kill done. You don't want to give up the point to speeding settings, because at the end of the day, it's going to be trouble. Eventually, he does reveal his cards. He's going to fall, and they now take full control of combat, but they need to now work their way in where the center of the circle is being locked in. And I think all those teams as well are finally beginning to make their ascent out of the bunker as well.
I think the wise choice to get out of there, and I think they're forced to do so at this point. Again, difficult final circle. Just going to emerge in this kind of northern east corner of it. Transverser just skirting the edge of it. What's going on there? I believe actually it was a drone or something, but unusual appearance on the map there. Full information gathered from this. The team just playing a little bit of defilade. They wipe out 1. That's going to be a great pickup from them, and they're going to be able to use this rotation with the vehicle best they can. But looking at the overview of the circle you have to work with, not that much deviations of terrain undulation. A patch of the high ground out towards the eastern side will be very important to hold that control. Looks like Transverser's already up there. 2 teams setting themselves up nicely, lurking on the edge of that eastern side with a little bit of high ground to look down towards this, as we see the rest of DVA still holding combat training. Yeah,
they're trying. We're just watching as well, wanting to get Dazzla back up. You need all 4 players. I feel like there's no other BR where being down players is such a disadvantage. You can make something happen, but the time to kill is so fast in this game that you cannot afford to be down 1. Bulldog squad's Ghoul looking to lock out this 3-man squad at the edge of the circle, and as you can see, as long as these shots continue to miss, there's nobody really... Well, I was about to say there's nobody in a position to third party, but check out Gandalf and the crew as they start moving this way, and this could be really bad for Bulldog.
Not a lot of cover to work with at all here. Freiburg's going to drop prone, but it's going to try and use the smokes best they can to find some level of concealment. They'll dash, they'll dart, they'll dive, but they're going to get shredded. The DMRs, the SVDSs, just pick them limb from limb, finding 1 and getting that confirmation. Looking down towards it, and that small ridgeline buying them enough cover to try and force a reset and get some plates back. And there's going to be a second team arriving. That's going to be TBA lurking to play on the edge and find a huge damage done. Actually, no, it won't be TBA. It will be Gambit, and the King Adrian has appeared once again to fight for a crown.
Yeah, he's having a look. He spots out Prism as he moves, manages to hit the headshot, gets the crack confirmed onto the plates as well, but they are trying to sweep up on the edge of the circle. Deal with everything on the edge to open it up. Ghoul did find the knock, by the way, as I think the Gambit side are a little bit closer to the center of the circle, but this is all about wrapping up the inside. Looks like Rustamar as well, Mark. He's pushing further forward towards the center of the circle, trying to get some ground.
Rustamar in a great position to have that high ground, and actually they're going to play a massive position where they can lock down towards all the active fights at this moment. They are the only team that have full vision on the 4 other squads making a fight at this stage. Playing in the base of the radar station with the Traverser for extra cover can be a strong side for Griffin to work with, but again, with the EBA having such a dominant position and the firepower to make things work, it could be a problem. And we're seeing some use from our engineer here, getting that repair tool to get this Traverser back in the fight. Does look like some damage taken from the squad, down to 3 at this point, so not going to be a full firepower.
Yeah, looking at it now, it's a real tense game between all these teams that are left alive. Ghoul, the last one up, and can he be a Spectre on the side and haunt them and ruin their game? He looks above, a drop as the drone is going to send some ordnance on top of him, and he jumps his way into the skip because he's in the bin. He's going home and into the next lobby. 4 teams left alive now. Whippet Gambit with all 4 players up. We've got Knights TBA still alive. And then a little bit further away, we've got Fusker and 6-7 on the field, looming large as well.
TBA beginning to fan themselves out across this rooftop, across the top of the ridgeline. They have realized there's going to be a team playing a little bit below them. They're spreading themselves out, get as much vision as possible. And well, the Traverser are just going to cause problems here, looking for some road kills, but unfortunately, it's going to be a sabotage place, and that's going to be enough to shut down Soupy. Unknown finds one on the Blue Hawk, and it's going to be a team wipe found. Traverser did not work out at all, and Radar, now control gathered by TBA. Great position as they hold the high ground every single other team.
Yeah, the array giving such good cover now. Avra and the rest of Outlaw. Remember this, of course, the team 6-7 on the field. They're in trouble now. 3 teams left as it looks like we might be about to get another one. A wrap on the other side as all 3 teams coming to a point now on the edge. The smoke coming out. Well, you called it earlier. Once that gas starts to bloom, you start seeing ghosts, you start hearing noises, it becomes a problem, and now it's just a 4 versus 4 for the win.
This is going to be a very big crash up now. It's going to be TBA dropping away and not committing to play as aggressively on their high ground. Page finds one, shreds King Adrian, the NVO doing a great job to lock that one out. Now with the man advantage, this is going to be an exponential grind. Getting huge damage on the one more, and they have to try and press this. They're going to find some towards Slylo, but they're going to drop to the low ground. Grenade gets off, traded off nicely, but it's just going to be a flurry. 1 by 1. The early pick is going to be the ultimate catastrophe, as it will be TBA to lock things down. An attempted quick scope, but it will lead to his own team as TBA take their 3rd map victory of the evening, and they played that masterfully.
Yeah, they took control of the radar array. They were able to get rid of the only opposition they had up there, and then it's just a game of playing the third party, which is exactly what they did. Mark, we've seen this game before. Paige and Unknown, and Paige and Rustamar used to play that in PUBG all the time, and now that you've got the ability of Unknown, it's just not fair.
Yeah, let's not throw those words out just yet, but it is feeling like it, boys. A good play from them. Obviously, that is a 3rd win out of, technically 4 games. So they've only lost 1 at the moment. And actually, that one came down towards the end as well. This map was quite interesting to me matching before. Why? Because Whippet, it was so much unplayable terrain. We saw it obviously play out towards the outside. It forced a lot more early fights. Kind of. But actually, with the open terrain at the very, very end, it was about who could claim the space.
I feel like this was a much deeper test of how teams can play the control, knowing they have very limited advantageous positions to play and hold on to. And I feel like this is the first time we saw a slower pace matchup. It was still pretty quick for a Battle Royale, but teams are forced to be a little bit more deliberate in their movements, and they weren't able to put that same pressure on. As you said, with the open space, the way the zone developed, you can't hunt down third parties the same way we saw previously. There's not that urban cover to work with, so teams had to play this much slower paced. And to lean into a point Gibson said earlier, that former BR experience that we see from the likes of TBA, I think was a great boon for them. They played that perfectly, knowing the positions to control, fighting for them early, and playing those perfectly towards the end.
Well, there's one thing we do like with Battle Royales, and that is a quick break. When we come back, though, it'll be match number 5 of 6. There are 6 up for these scrims, so don't go anywhere. See you guys in a few. Here we go. It's match number 5. 5 or 6 though, Gibson. As I can't quite see the flight path wide because my map feed's not working properly, but we get a rough idea that it's going right through the middle of the heart, the soul. But everyone's back in the lobby. It has been a good 4 games so far. And one thing I can say, it's difficult to get a grasp of what's going on. Why? Because there is so much aggression and so much like pushing coming in from the third party.
Yeah, well, like normally with BRs you get a chance to tell the story of the game and how teams are running in, but with REDSEC, with 100 players in the lobby, well, in this case, it's just go, 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 go. Early days we spoke about the impact that those golden areas have. It looks like we might have some congestion over by red line. 2 teams landed inside a golf course, which is worth keeping an eye on as well for that early, probably aggression over in that section map. And, well, you know the team now. Oh my god. Really, Squinty?
Yep.
You're going to start things off like that?
Let's go, lad. Absolutely caught that cinema on camera. GG's.
What can I even say? What can I even say? So, spoke about the fact that Knights will probably jump on up. That's exactly what's going to happen. Rustanmar moving up. Keyboard will get wiped by Page. Rustanmar with a nice headshot. He'll get another one as Ghoul will be the next one to fall. Pro Kane, well, he'll need some performance enhancing materials in this 1 versus 4. And he's running directly into the waiting arms of another squad. And they'll say hello once he gets a few more steps further forward. But
I think they've run as well.
They've run as well. Everyone bailed.
Everyone's failed. So yeah, it was hot, not for long there. Lots of action though. Crash Shot, obviously, we know is pretty an interesting top, especially if you are playing a ranked at the moment. It seems to be a go-to place. Why? Because it is normally got that gold around it. For now, not quite the case. Pizza Parker will get his pizza on the roof though. As he does sees 1, he sees 2, he's divided, and he gets conquered. Very clean win for him. Unfortunately, he'll be sipping this one.
Poor Pizza Parker. R.I.P. Anyways, as we watch Leon, he'll wait for the rest of his team to rejoin him as he does a little bit of scouting over towards Crash Site Bungalows. Got himself some decent weapons to work with, but those iron sights can be hard to work with. But he's doing a pretty good job here so far, Mark, but he's not going to get away. And of course it's Paige. Of course it's a snipe from Paige that's going to get him from a mile away.
Well, it might be a mile away for one, but not a mile away for the other. The jump around, and it's a sweep, and it instantly go down. Again, this is what I'm talking about. These are high-risk area, but if you can get clear, it's high reward. Not just on kills, but also the loot you can put in your back pocket.
Yeah, Petrick, he's having a little look around now. They've got control of this section of the map for now, and you'd imagine that they're probably well through their mission phase now as they look to get some custom weapons. And what have you spotted out a little bit further away, Mark? We got some trouble brewing over by Marina on the edge.
It's always Marina. Have you noticed this so far? I need to go back, actually, as it bounces away. It seems to be Marina. Again, it seems to be, for me, a favour from these teams want to sit on the outside edge and work in. And we see that a lot from Battle Royales, right? You can kind of play and control the outside edge of the zone. But how can you control this? This is chaotic. A lot of teams obviously taking a lot of pressure in, though. Does go for the peak over the top. Does the damage, but receives too much. Replay will come in play, but the pressure hasn't stopped, though, and they're looking to breach the building.
Yeah, a shot's coming out as Fit Hendrick manages to land a couple of nice headshots, but not enough to get that knock that they just desperately need to close the gap and move a little bit further up onto that building. You need a knock just to give yourself the ability to close the gap. Golden Mike here, by the way, he can continue scouting as they're pretty close to one of those recall stations, maybe scouting it, holding it, waiting for some pressure to come on in, but I think that, yeah, here we go. Easy, knock, dead, down. But they're going to do the rest, though, Mark. 1 versus 3.
1 versus 3 will go through, go for the breach test. They're going through. No one will forward. It's 1, 2, 3 is down. And for them, they're going to be out. Nice claim, actually, be able to get that missile strike back into their pocket. That can cause some damage, but back to the outside edge. And I won't admit I'm pressed the wrong button once else. But we are back in the action we was at the start with. And there's a full breach. It is a climb up towards the building, but time is limited. And the limited factor is going to have an impact. Oh my god, he jumped out the window! Oh my god, he jumped and clawed it! What a play! And it's a clean swipe. Go through, oh my days, jump the roof, hit the window, and backstab them. Clean execution.
Yeah, Nebula have done plays like that all night long, and that's brilliant again from them. They've managed to get the squad wipe, and then we're down to 21, but they're moving into a high volume area. Ladder has been deployed to give an angle onto this fight as Ghost look to just create an opening for themselves. Elsewhere, Golden Mike's going to get Monkey. I think that's the second time we've seen him dealt with as Tony Mon and the rest of his crew are just going to move indoors, Mark. I'm going to be honest, I don't think they're going to get that mission completed.
Exactly. This is going to be a difficult mission to grab if they want to grab it. Interesting, again, obviously TBA right in the middle of the zone. No one is going to contest, and it comes back to that point. People like to leave this team at bay.
Well, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you leave them alone?
Gibson. Most of the time I play with you, man, there's one thing I know about you. If you see a pro player in the lobby, you don't even have to ask. You're already pushing. So would you leave them alone, Gibson? Hell no.
It's about asserting dominance. One problem I see for Jackal that's going to not make them very dominant is the lack of plates. Igor has none. We've just seen Zykes get dropped on the edge on the outside as well, and he's going to get flushed pretty damn quick. And the last player standing, they've got nothing to work with. Bombas being sent in, smokes as well. They're trying to just hold them back as the firestorm begins closing in. Igor actually crossed the road mark, leaving Ziu all to his own on the edge of the circle, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do much, but maybe Igor can play to live on and get his teammates back later on.
He's got a cross. Like, I give him that. Like that, he slipped the net. They're aware of him. They know about him. So, again, it was more of the case that they don't need to move. They just need to let the teams be pushed towards them. They've got to get that position up. We see the zone obviously shifting away now as it is playing across. Arguably a centralized-ish area. Obviously, we've got chemical storing with the gold. Golf course with Gargod and the TBA guys will sit firm. But it's that south side I'm worried about. These teams already encroaching on the area, don't want to push quite yet in towards golf course, but they want to set a position. But they're not the only team that wants to set up here.
Yeah, center circle currently sitting in that valley between chemical and golf course itself, so no real teams want to play that position for a little while longer at least. So you'll kind of see a lot of pressure by these triple houses over by the toilets, which is exactly what's kind of happening now. As an airstrike will get dropped in on top of Team H. TBA, they've got everything they could want with this. They got that other customs weapon, and they're focusing their eyes on that triple now as Team Otter getting airstrike, double airstrike, as these three teams just start feeling each other out a little bit here in the middle of the circle.
Is that it's Zico, as in it's Zico, PUBG Zico?
No, I don't think so. I thought it was, but it's not.
I'm going to ask after, and I'll ping him in Discord. I'm not quite sure. It's the exact same name as well, which is kind of the giveaway. But if not, there's an imposter in the building. If not, there's someone claiming. Cold War clear out. Squad up will be confirmed, though, as most of these teams obviously look to try and find this space. But it comes down to this sort of west side here, Gibson. A lot of teams want to try and take the angle, but they want to sweep their way in. But when you're sweeping on the outside of this and it's sweeping away from you, you haven't got much time to think. You've got to react.
6-7 on the field now. Outlaw squad, as they're known in game, beginning to wrap their way up towards Intereller and looking to maybe get some more points onto their tally as they start working their way through those crash side houses. You can see Igor did manage to pull off the great escape, Mark, at least for now. Mike has an angle up on the hill, and he's going to get that knock onto PD instantly. Thirsting out the player. Gets another one as well as PD takes down Daz. This is not looking good, and Crossbones could be in trouble.
Oh, Raptor's been able to get to the roof. I think he's got away with that just before they sort of made that breach. They've come up, they know they're below. You've got to try and clear this again because the third party will come through. Greg Bomber will go through, does the damage, doesn't quite get the knock, but the exposed now is known. He's on the roof though. They haven't made a push for him yet. They've stepped outside. He goes for the jump shot. He gets the knock on Raptor though. He's got a bite.
Yeah, that's phenomenal from Raptor, staying alive, but the instant res has occurred already. The defib coming in strong. Once again, repositions himself. This time, he's not good. He's going to make sure as he confirms out that kill, as every point matters. Raptor still holding his own. You said they hunt in packs. His teammates look like they're coming back pretty quickly now as well, and I think he's had enough of that fight. He's going to try and get out of there. Drops down, though. Squinty got the angle. 6-7 on the field. Do the work, and now here comes Vorn and a Kyle.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for the guys. Raptors were trying to get back to that pack, but the pack doesn't obviously work out for them. Good hold from them. Quick res. Nice play from Raptor to get the additional kill. Now back towards the fight, though. He's going to be in the belly of the beast, and it isn't going to last too much longer, though. Good play, good hold, and we are now starting to see some angles. I don't understand why the map button does that twice. We are going to see some angles start to sort of open up as space reveals itself.
Yeah, Volti's going to be in trouble here as well as he's trying to close the gap. Uses the bomb, but managed to deal with some of the shields, but he's been cracked himself, so he dips back into cover for now. Switches over to the SMG just to give him a little bit more close range damage ability as they get back up to 3-player standing. Soupy has been dealt with. Hydro's going to get some shots here, but Volti once again get dropped. And now he's got to be careful, Mark, because there's a team just above him.
Volty though, he's got a voltage charge, but he's out, unfortunately for him. Nice push, nice play, but yes, more bodies still remain. Again, we're fighting for position, we're fighting for space, but we are seeing on that north side though, middle teams are coming. Where is the solo? Because there is a solo there. He is lurking. And he's on his Todd. How have they not checked this room off yet, Gibson?
Yeah, well, look, he's going to hide there for as long as he can. Like, I would do the same. You're going to hear some footsteps, and Hydrosky still avoiding it. Prism just sees him again. But, Mark, this is fine. This is okay.
It's okay for him, yeah. Not for the action. He's going to get a... Oh, my God, that camera was terrible. He's going to get a bit of a bypass at the moment. The teams obviously are pushing on that top side. There is obviously reinforcements coming in the way of a little bird for him. That's the team... though we'll find it now space. Now we go out towards that east side. As now we have lost the zone, though. We have to try and get the feed. GBF, though, on the hold, though. But they've got a little bit of a breach, a little bit of a hold themselves, as they will also put up the utility.
Yeah, Crimey Beans having a great night of their own here, Team Castle. And they've got themselves a pretty good spot on the edge of the circle. But they're going to wait as long as they possibly can, right? You don't want to push it straight into the triple houses, particularly with a third party potentially coming in from that Area 22B side. So keep an eye. Abu is scouting. He's getting all the information on where Mood and the rest of the team are pushing from. But watch for this team staying in this position as long as they possibly can.
Yeah, they're going to use that map feed there. They can hold, then they can sort of move in just after. They can kind of leapfrog in towards that late game. And though on the other side, though, looks to try and get the reposition. We'll go for that reload there. So we've got multiple teams now coming in towards this area. Full breach. It'll be an instant third party, though. There goes the first little shot. So knock will come through. Look for the flush, though. Straight flush. Point confirmed on the board. And for the blood, though, there's blood to get. And unfortunately, unable to get to safety.
Yeah, and he's going to get knocked by Field Logic as this is a really big fight between these two teams dancing up to the high ground. Fats and Toomsy as LFTs. It's all down to Fats now. She's the last player standing, and I don't quite know if she's going to make it. She did get that knock onto Annie confirmed, but whether or not she's still going, looks like she is, Mark, as Fallen.
Am I stuck in the car?
He's stuck in the car.
Fallen's got...
What's bro doing in the engine of the van?
Nothing to see here. Obviously, it's the first day of the update, and there are expected to be technical problems, and we just found one. I wonder if Fallen's going to be able to take a fall from this one yet. Just maybe not yet. Just trying to escape into the battle, but getting a little bit of a bypass. Back towards the action now, as we are seeing obviously that open things up. Rubber will go down. Reposition will happen, though, is it's going to be the run on the outside edge, but it is open terrain. Painful run, but unfortunately, doesn't get across the ridge.
Yeah, Lalo's going to hop the wall now, waiting for Monkey to maybe move this way. Will confirm out his kill, but this should be 3 points for the side of Gambit as they wait for Monkey and the Team Cats to begin moving a little bit closer in. Out in the open is Monkey. He's going to get cut out by Dazzler, and now it's just all down to Tazzy. He's getting caught out on the edge as well. He's going to go prone as he moves closer and closer to Golf Course, but Mark, what does Salvation look like? Is it getting behind this wall? I'm not quite sure, and Fallen did eventually get taken out.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult, right, to get across that open terrain. Doing the right thing, moving towards that sort of north side, but he's going to come into this commotion at the moment. Initial shots will come over to drop. Cover, though, obviously from the anti will be there. They are going to go for that rotation round, but that rotation is not going to be exposed for much longer. Good play, good opening. Doesn't quite get the knock.
Yeah, Richt will jump back up. Remember, this is Pida and Richt, the only two players alive for Crossbones. They're wrapping their way over towards those houses, trying to get on the side of the zone that's more favorable for them, but they will be running directly into Mud and Hydrosky and Co's side as well. So keep an eye on where that rotation leads to. Tazzy, he's going to go prone behind the garbage can, hoping that maybe he can go as unnoticed as garbage can from time to time and just stay alive as long as he possibly can, Mark.
We talked about garbage cans, and I had an inkling that there might be another one, and that is the case. So not just one, but two will cuddle up. As they will now try and wait. Fires will come through. Obviously, control happening. We are seeing kind of this itchy attempt from TBA as they look to try and leave the safety of the golf course. They're itchy to try and find some confirmation. But no one's really pushing their way. We can see the drone out as well as he's going over the sort of top side. Let's get the exposed positioning. But I suppose for Team TBA, Gibson, do they leave the safety of their position? Do they play for late game, or do they go aggressive?
I think Gaz, just being the forward scout, he's going to make the call for the team based on what he sees. Screwface, I think, ain't looking good for him. He's caught in the sandwich between two teams, and he's dealt with as we drop to 8. And now the Traverser hit by at least one launcher from Rickett. He's the only player up for the team. He's just trying to get some momentum going. 1 bar of health left on that thing, just about. What can he do? Just get out, man. Just get out. Don't let another launcher come, because you know that he's getting ready with another one.
Yeah, but they've expelled 2, right? It is that time. He knows he's taken both. Ovu not finding the sneaky snake, though, in the garbage can. As you sometimes want to put those raccoons out, but not really the case. There is 2. And then when they want to jump up, they are going to cause some problem for this team. But we're seeing Ovu be that problem for other teams as well. So a little bit of just dessert potentially coming his way.
The firestorm getting closer and closer to the skip. Over by the houses, we've got a battle locked in. Dazilla is going to get dealt with, as it looks like Gavu and Co managed to deal with at least 1 more team. Interel and Teller, he's on the edge of the circle by the warehouses, pushing into Umet now. Are they able to bring the battle to the French? Akali, he's inside the shack just on the other side of this one, and I think that Inteller and Slashy, they're just trying to survive as long as they can, Mark.
Inteller, though, might lead the charge, and they're currently they're split. If this team splits any more, actually they're going to take two versus 2 fights. The question is, can they deal the damage quick enough? They now see 1, they see the second. Now they're trying to work out exactly where the bodies are, but they're getting pushed, and again, the pressure's being applied. They've got to take the right step, though. They'll work in and around, but again, no need to rush. Maybe looking for an explosive start, but I'm concerned they might split, and if that's the case, as I say, it'd be a 2 versus 2 standoff.
Yeah, but even if they get a knock and a flush, it's a point, right? At this point, it's all about trying to maximize what you can do. I think that they've just stayed quiet long enough that they've kind of forgotten about the fact that there is a team behind them, so they'll just stay alive a little longer. 6 squads left alive, all kind of spread equally around the circle. Nobody daring. Yeah,
I think he's seen him on the drone. I think he's seen him on the drone.
Has he?
Or maybe not. Nah, because the other team are not responding. No, they haven't.
Nobody wants to play the center circle, though, Mark. Like, it's on top of a green. It's like in the middle of the golf course. Nobody wants to expose themselves there.
Yeah, no one's exposed. Don't forget, guys, obviously this is the first day on the update, so this is obviously opportunity for these teams to get scrimmed. There is a 10k though coming up, and type !Fireteam into chat. That'll get you a link to our Discord, or not our Discord, the Fireteam's Discord, the link to the Discord where these are being competed and the scrims are getting arranged. So again, if you are playing REDSEC at the moment or you want to get involved, it's time to type into chat. Oh my god, I actually got a time to promote it because it feels like Gibson, it has been non-stop action.
Well, you're telling me if I put !Fireteam in my chat, I can join the Discord and sign my team up for scrims?
You can, completely free as well, by the way. There is no charge.
I'm not going to do it because I want to cast, but if you want to play, 100% go for it. As a lot of chickens, the Frenchies spotted out that drone, gives it a 1-tap with the SVD, but as you can see, it's open ground ahead of them, being held out now by Gagod. Can he hit his shots onto Livin on the edge of the zone? Spots out another player running in the open in the side, and yeah, he's getting cover. He's realized that he was exposed and needs the cover.
That is the difference between me and a pro player. I would have just shot and most of died. The fact that Gargoyle had the, like, do you know what? I'm going to get the better of this guy, but I'm going to take safety first. And now he figures out he's on his own, gets the call to the boys, and actually it is picked up. Pedro Smart will get the damage done, and it is damage done and team out.
Yeah, 1 player left alive on the edge of the circle. That's Livin. You can see that Ouet is moving in as well as the French squad see the opportunity. Slashy and Inteller are somehow still alive. 4 teams to go. And are they going to ruin their day? They're spotted. Oh no, they're spotted. He gets 1. Born gets the 2nd, and it's a wipe.
Do you see the pause as well? He's spun around. There's a slight pause. Like, uh-oh, this guy's behind us. Able to hit the guns. The call came through and able to get not just the 1, but the 2nd. Down to 3 teams. Now we're going to see the play to try and find the safety. The solo will find the safety in the middle, though, as the sweep ball come around the other side. Return back. The knock has happened, so they'll be very cautious here because the pressure won't release from Team TBA.
Unknown gets that first knock on to Hydrosky with the CZ. Page with the SCW gets another one. Rustenmar finds a 3rd. Unknown wipes them. Team Ouet dealt with, and it is going to be another victory for TBA as Knight get, their 4th victory in 5 maps. This is just straight up bullying so far.
It might be bullying, but there's one person we can't bully, and that is the amazing Whippet. Welcome back, Whippet. Interesting game. Lots of open train at the end, but for TBA, I know it's another win under the belt, but it is an execution when it comes to key. They held the position. They didn't commit over towards taking the open train, and they claim up, though, match number 5.
I think there's just a simple phrase to describe this, in that there are levels to this. It's very, I think, apparent that I don't think it's going to be an outside opinion to say this, but going into the scrims, this is likely going to be the major favorite of teams that can perform in these, and they're showing that here. And I feel like it's kind of repetitious to say it's not just their mechanics, but it's their decision making. Even that final fight, Gagon realizing that, I can take this fight, I can likely win it, trusting his mechanics, but he'd rather reposition, play it safe. And it's that decision making and that momentarily risk mitigation that they make time and time again that makes them so dangerous, especially in very difficult circle positions like that. The circle being so open, so exposed. It was a team that had the best decision and held their nerve the longest, ultimately got the victory, and that is now a 4th victory for them. 4 out of 5 so far. What an impressive run they're having.
I think you literally nailed it there, right? It's the decision making. That's the difference. It isn't so much of the skill set. Yes, they've obviously been grinding away, but when I look at the end of the game, I've seen players with the same 7 kills, 6 kills, 5 kills. So it's not like they're running away, Gibson, with all the kills. It's that decision making. When it comes down, push come to shove, TBA know what to do.
Yeah, and you can see a lot of teams are starting to avoid them as well. Like, not a lot of teams are pushing to their section of the map in the early stage. Teams are taking knocks from them and backing off, right? They're not trying to bring the fight to them. And you see that even internationally in other esports as well in some BRs. Like, there's some teams that you just don't want to deal with, so you position yourself in a way that you're not going to get there. But despite the fact they're dominating, there's still 3 or 4 other teams that are constantly showing up with great plays, right? 6-7 on the field, LFTs, and I'm going to say their name again, but like the likes of, I think, Crimey Beans have all shown really good moments as well. It's just, they're just not as dominant as what TBA are.
Well, we'll show our moments as we show to a break. It'll be the final break, though, for us for this scrims, though. But again, if you haven't already, !Fireteam in chat. As Gibson said, it's completely free. Get yourself on that Discord. Get yourself in these scrims. And more importantly, sign yourself up for the 10K tournament. I hear, rumour has it, there is more than just one. Anyway, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, though, it'll be our final game for today.
I thought, Gibson, you were going to do the introduction, but it's time.
I'm not going to lie. I got confused by what we loaded into there, Mark, if I'm being honest. We got a direct view of what every player sees moments before death when they die to the flames.
Well, it's either that or a picture of Gaga. Either or, it's going to be May as well, the same as this one. But we jump in a little bit late diving into the action here. It's going to be Area 22B, incredibly hot at the early stages once again. Teams stacking up from this. And Outlaw Squinty going to be bearing down on one, just holding a long angle. DMR in hand, actually with the brand new sniper rifle, of course. Super impactful within that sweet spot, 150 damage, playing in its ideal range of 120 to 130 meters. So you can find that the work is going to be huge. The AUG going to be able to shut down one. And they're going to get a huge early advantage in this initial fight.
Yeah, Squinty, of course, I saw his level like 1054 or something in the game. He's played a lot of REDSEC. Actually, shout out Squinty too. He's our lobby host. He's the guy who gave us permission to cast these, but he also might be in trouble now as he sees one of his teammates, Mike, getting knocked, and he's going to get flushed by Two-Face, and he's going to maybe get another one. Peeks on the side, but Two-Face has been caught out. Squinty peeking on the side. It looks like with one player up, are they going to stand tall, or is the Hoodmaster going to deal with them? And I think they have.
I think so as well. We're going to have to get that revive off, and the Hoodmaster has wiped them out, so going to have to use their second chance earlier on in this match than they would have liked it, and actually going to be a very strong performance. Two teams still standing at 22B, holding on to that control. So hop on board here with Trident. They're going to get that reposition. Going to be stacking up. Actually looks like to be a very separate push here. Alone. Now his team is still standing, but lots of bodies arriving on him. The other 85 is going to shoot through one. Second player boss on in. The MVO is going to be able to shred one. Find himself two. Massive collapse here and a great pressure found. Can they confirm this in the final two standing? P90 recovered this fight in these close quarter brawls, but it looks like a full retreat as the rest of that team fall away, wanting to use their second chance and not committing further for the wipe.
Yeah, and you can see now that Cage is just going to dodge on out of there. He sees that the recall's coming in, but with nobody there to support him, he'll just keep moving on back. You can see a couple of missions being completed as well. I think that is going to be Knights. That'll be Page's squad. If I'm being real, this is probably for a customs, and that's exactly the way they play the game. They get a couple of kills early, they push for a customs, and then they kind of insert their will as Page will get on the drone and feed information to the best team. Remember, 1-1-1-1 rules are in effect, so you have to play one of every single class, which means that you do have to have a dedicated scout who will get on drones. I know, Whippet, that there is other class trees that you can use, but I do think it's just hard to beat the drones. I
mean, the second option skill tree that you have available on Recon brings out the mobile jammer. So I do think trading off the drone for that's going to be a massive detriment. And we'll hop on board here. Team Otter just looking to get aggressive out by combat training. They found that opening pick, looking for a second. The CZ going to be very dangerous in this close quarter fight, and a lot of buildings and a vertical to make that one work for him. Find one, looks for a second victim, not able to find it. Takes huge damage from two sources, but enough cover the drop prone, double plate, full recovery, but still going to be a massive lurking threat that CZ in the building. And Arva just finding that pressure arriving, not going to last too much longer. Flushed out fully. Team Otter find that wipe, and they get complete control of combat training as of right now.
Yeah, 6-7 on the field's night is now officially over. As for the first time tonight, we properly dive on in inside the bunkers as Adrian will peek his way over. Pizza Parker might be one of the first players to target. He's trying to wrap his way around now as he drops that tub, but unfortunately for him, that tub's just intel, right? You can't wrap around that side, but it'll give you a ton of information on where 3 of your opposition members are, and then that allows for the wrap around and rotate on the other side.
Gotta hope, though, the rest of that attention is going to get covered. Does it look like one player is going to be aware of this likely flank arriving? They have some of the guns trained on that position, battling for the limited high ground, but fighting through his blast door is going to be very difficult. You have to commit deep to expose yourself. They find one knock, look for that flush, but it's going to be a difficult fight to find themselves. They traded off left, right, and center, but it's going to go down to a simple 2v2 at this stage. The revive has time to work with, and the flank's fallen completely flat. Both players knocked. Both players are going to be in a difficult spot, and the defib goes out. Likely going to find these two players flushed out. Even time for a takedown if they wanted to risk it, but no, they'll get their confirms nice and easy, and a 4v2 advantage deep in the tunnels here.
Yeah, even with all the advantage, there was only 2 places they could come from. Now, Leon will take a ton of damage, but as he's cracked, someone else will step up and take his place. Lalo just trying to hold things down here with that DMR as well. It hits hard, but you need to get one hell of a combination of DMR shots and vector shots if you want to find that all-important knock and flush. And like, I just think that Blackjack squad are playing this perfectly. Like, one player takes damage, they fall off, another one takes their place.
Doing a great job. And again, they had deployable cover in their back inventory to work with, and I think this is going to be a smart decision from Gambit. The rest of the team, they've dropped in, they've used their second chance, they've recovered, and they're just going to fall back at this stage. And this is going to be such a horrible position knowing that you have a fight enemy down below, but The tunnel is going to be one of those choke points you can hold on to. As they try to get zip line up, they can be very vulnerable. Maybe toying with the idea of committing back down towards it.
He's trying to bait shots, right? He's jumping down and then rappelling back up again to see if the members of Pizza Parker's team are holding that angle. And I think having realized that they are, they can just play up here on top of Solar for a little while longer with all these power generators providing so much cover and the ability to just maybe complete a couple of missions, because they are behind the pace here, if we're being honest with it. Like, they don't have any customs weapons, they've not completed any missions. Yes, they've got some points, but we'll pick up that earlier because Cobra and the rest of Two-Face's team, they're just moving outside military now, making their way up to that hill.
Looks like 222B as well, fairly uncontested. Actually, no, two teams just playing on the perimeter here, and actually, there'll be a lot of pressure. They're going to be caught behind a team behind and ahead of them. Those shots will grab the attention of the team further up the hill. And I imagine no amount of smoke grenades is going to keep you in this fight as long as you would have wanted. There is an escape tunnel down to the tunnels, and I wonder, will that be an option for them to try and dive on into it, because they're sandwiched between two, but the second team on the high ground hasn't seen them. Well, it will be actually, no, they're not on the high ground. That's
but look,
team lurking down below.
Yeah, Yaji and co are not far away with it, so as they drop on down, they might actually get the audio cue of Cobra and co moving their way through these tunnels on their way into the circle. So they'll keep on moving. Remember, the zone is a little bit further away from this spot, but I think this was a smart call. Get into cover, get into the bunker, and move on in.
Either get a full reposition here in these tunnels. And again, this is one of those areas of the map that to me I feel like is a labyrinth. It's so difficult to work with. And here in Redline Storage, we see at least 3 teams stacking up for that pressure. Drone in the air, and that's going to spot the arriving of TBA. They're looking to get very aggressive, and they know a team's waiting for them. Motion sensor down, looking to try and find whatever information they can at this early stage. But the stiller you sit, the better. Early damage going to get taken off when the first engagements happen. It's going to be a difficult one. As Unknown's going to be in a very hard position, forced to replay. They lose Page early, and this is going to be the first time that we might see them acting as mortals. They need to find the trade-off immediately before they get crashed into. And unfortunately, we cut away. Observers fighting us at times, but it's going to be a horrible one. Looks like TBA down the 2, down the 1. And it's going to be all down to a single sole survivor to recover it for his team.
If they bleed, we can kill it. As they do lose one more, Gagod will get dealt with, leaving Unknown as the last player alive. But lo and behold, second chance still available to our dominant lobby side. Now, with Unknown still alive, we need to point this out again. He can stay in the fight, right? The teammates can drop back on top of him, safe in the knowledge that provided not enough teams fall, they will still get that second chance a little bit later on. So keep an eye on that team count for that second chance being removed. But while all that was going on, it looks like LFZ's Fats has got ourselves up on the high ground, overlooking what's been going on in this section of the map.
Great shots with the sniper rifle, finding it, and that's going to be huge. Gets a crack and going to chip away at one of those very, very valuable plates to work with. And a full custom loadout here by Fates Black. And you look at this, this is like the ideal meta. If you're going to run a bolt action, you're going to have a perfect one with great. The L16 with an amazing sweet spot to find a full damage from it, and the SCW10 for those close quarter fights. Expect to see a lot of teams running a very similar composition. That secondary building by the base of these foothills just going to get occupied in an airstrike off in the distance, and there's going to be a scrappy fight. Triple H and the rest of the squad holding on for that control, but the artillery just going to make this an absolute mess, Gibson.
Yeah, Triple H, you know what it's like for him. It's all about the game and how you play it. As Akaji and co push on up on top of this position, Triple H, he's diving his way into cover, trying to get himself somewhere to play as he's going to go prone. Akali jumps up on top of the truck. It explodes, cracking almost all of his plates, forcing him back into cover once more. But with the gunfire, with the nades, with all the utility being dumped, it's such a hard push to make. 3 players behind the sandbags. Khalid is going to step up on the side. He gets an off angle, but he's not able to find that knock, and he steps up and gets knocked down.
This is a scrappy fight, dancing over the armored car. It's going to come down to a simple defib, finding one, but they're going to get completely collapsed on. The SCW-10 needs to do so much lifting. He's going to deep dive with the movement all the way around him. Looks to find that flush, but cannot find it. His team has suffered the wipe, but he gets no flush in the favor of it. A difficult fight on the base of that respawn tower, and does not work out for them at all. And wow, they have a chance to get that respawn from them. They bought themselves just enough time to work with, and all bodies stacked off, but hopefully they have the assault buff to make this work. But
they'll
pressure
make it.
arriving, and RPGs as
they
well.
might
They've got no time for this. There's nothing they can do, and the zone's going to collapse on them, Gibson. Oh my goodness.
Oh, maybe if all 4 players had have stood on top of it, they might have had a chance, but that leaves Ankali as the last player standing. He's smoking his way around the edge of the rim of that fire, and I think once he steps up onto this dual carriageway, well, things could become a problem for him. Elsewhere, we see a couple of recalls coming in as the mobile respawns are bringing some teammates in. Leon will open up that crate to get himself a weapon, having just dropped back in. And, well, for Blackjack, the pressure, it's going to keep on coming as they manage to find one pro key and finds Iron House.
The rest of that team's not going to be seeing the collapse onto them. That's going to be an MP5. Finds great damage, but not enough to get that knock. And I don't think he's going to last too much longer. Leon's going to be dancing from table to table, trying to find that plate and pocket, but unfortunately gets shut down. Hail Jesus finds a way to lock that one out, and they take control of that fight. Circle position beginning to finalize at this stage, but still, with 13 teams standing, lots of action between it. Soupy finds one in the distance. Lots of chicken as well. Gunfights going on across the entirety of this, but teams very split and divided by the rest of Redline Storage, looking to try and find an opening. It does look like the pressure of TBA is going to invite that fight on, and we take a look at the overall here. Look at this spread up. This treatment plant beginning very active here, Gibson.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but every time we go third person, it reminds me of XCOM on the way they move. I'm not going to lie.
What?
Yeah, as Slash. You tell me I'm not the only one that sees it, right?
I think
now
you
that
might
I
be the only
point it out,
person
you
that
see
sees
it.
No, that's just you, bro.
Right, maybe I'm getting old. Anyways, Castle, they've had a pretty good night so far as Fallen's going to wrap over, though they might be in trouble. Fallen finds Beezy, transfers it over with a spray transfer, but can't hit the shots. Castle starting to hit back hard as he's setting up a wall of defense on the edge as our observer goes a wandering. He is old. We got to give him credit. Sometimes technology can be hard.
But forgive me, we have to give Mark, who's working his ass off on our back end for observing, a pinch of credit to work with here. This update has been live for only a few hours. That's all the time he's had to work with for this stage. So,
Right, Mark is a wonderful person and he's never done anything wrong. Chat, just to let you know, he's told me if I say anything else mean, I'm being cut off and I'm losing observer privileges. Anyways, King Adrian, he's going to send some bombas up the hill, but the low ground's going to be a problem for them. But if you keep hitting shots like that, it might help. But no, that's going to be a problem. P-Day is going to go for that instant res, but this is a battle on the hill, and gotta say, Crossbones did well to win that so clean.
very, very surprised they got away with it that cleanly. They managed to make a fantastic escape, and they have some high ground on the rest of the teams fighting over treatment plant. But unfortunately for them, they're going to be in the eyes of Gaga and the rest of TBA. Now, they're not going to have a full collapse on them, as Gaga's just going to play as that forward scout, as you saw before. Very similar to how this team works out. Full custom loadout, SVDS going out. So again, those DMRs super punishing to work with. And yeah, you're right. You spotted that one out, Gibson.
Yeah, he sees the ladder, so he knows that a team's pushing up now. Castle backfilling, so you can see that he's called the reinforcements as the cavalry will now arrive. Gaga, though, hit hard a couple of times, dips his way back into cover. Looks like Paige has been knocked in the midst of all this action, so Crossbones putting in the work. But the terrain's going to become their enemy, and Rostamar gets himself in a good position. They try to get the flush, but Rostamar hits hard, but still Crossbones still alive, and they're picking their poison as they wrap their way around the other side.
Difficult position now for TBA, as Rostamar is going to have to make a big stand as that pressure rides on the hill, but actually he's got a little bit of space to work with. Spots one. DMR needs to be able to hit those shots. He's going to be left in the open, but has a great escape down towards the edge of the zone. Trying to regroup with the rest of his team at this point, but he is so exposed on this hillside. He's got that gas grenade and the canister ready to go to try and send it up to buy some space. TBA is going to take huge damage, but Galgon finds one. That's going to be on penalty, and now it's going to be the cover. A great crossfire held. Team Honor going to be in a horrible position. Rostamar shreds through one, but the trade fire goes off. He has to retreat all the way towards zone, hoping he gets those replates in time, and he should just about do it. More pressure arriving though, as TBA going to be vulnerable to a third party. Gagon gets shut down eventually, and the lobby leaders, the dominators so far, reduced to 2 with 7 squads standing.
Don't think they have. They have actually a mobile redeploy. They've placed it, but that's going to be a beacon for all these teams to push in. Monkey, he's going to try to be the one that leads the way as he starts throwing those smoke grenades to create some cover to get really close and personal with Unknown and Rostamar. He gets Unknown down, leaving it one player left alive now for TBA. The mobile redeploy should be destroyed, and that leaves Rostamar down and out as Trident deal with TBA. And, well, I guess 4 out of 6 still ain't bad.
Listen, to take majority of the victories is no short stick to shake it. So very well done from them. Actually, surprisingly, there was a very low placement from them. Still within the top 10, but previously when they didn't win, they came second. Their goal would have been top 5 at the bare minimum. Hop on board here with Griffin and Blue Hawk taking some initial damage. Just around half of his HP gone from that plate. And his opposition hold just staring down towards him. And just in the pit of treatment plant. Not going to be a fun position to work with. Limited cover to try and get himself close. V11 toxic gas sent out just to try and buy some space and has to be careful as the compression can goes off and nearly chips him away, but does half damage to his armor. Replates up, but one more chipped away. And in these latter stages, I always think about this. You have to be very careful about letting this free damage hit you. Every plate becomes so valuable in positions like this. Looks like it's going to be a horrible one. Spotting the players beginning to surge down the hill. They have a horrible hold to work with. Give you a lot of pressure arriving with our top 5.
Yeah,
top 6.
And you can see that Voxerax is just trying to hold back this push on the other side, and that's the right thing to do. Don't let Trident push in and encroach into your position, so he'll keep holding the line at the spot and feeding all the information across. Scrapbot has actually hit a couple of nice bolty shots in a row as they continue to hold this area by treatment plant, but again, so little area inside the circle is being held with, but teams are holding the edge and not quite delving to center yet.
Very, very cautious approach from these teams, realizing the center is going to be a difficult one to work with. Great smoke grenades going out, just creating the occlusion to make it a difficult fight. Just shooting at ghosts to anyone, maybe 3D spot on the map, finding one, finding a second one, hopefully. Great dive on him by one. A huge opening in the SC down, but it's going to be a horrible disaster for the rest of his team. Finds that defib, but it's going to be a full, complete collapse. They still stand, but I don't think they got much longer left for them.
Yeah, they're dealt with. They're eliminated. Now Screwface, who we've seen in his squad, hit some nice bolty shots already. They're trying to hold out Abu and Co from Castle as they look to be the only other team in the server to manage to take victory here inside of REDSEC. Abu pushing behind the lorry, but he's going to get absolutely annihilated by a lot of chickens as he pushes over the Frenchman, hitting some nice shots, and that leaves Jude and Kaleidos, the last 2 players up. They're playing right behind that cab, but that truck's going to blow, and well, it ain't looking good for our 2 castles.
The cover gets chipped away bit by bit. They're dancing with the devil, and well, the gates of hell are waiting to welcome them. So close now. Half HP remaining and plates running out, and one teammate shot down, knocked, and it's going to be a full flood of pressure. But it's going to be patience as they wait, as it's going to be a slow and painful demise as they get wiped out, now leaving us with our final 3. One team having full control of the zone, and this is going to be a great position on the outskirts. They can begin to wrap around and maybe collect anything that they want for the scraps as the 2 teams close in the middle of treatment plant begin to set themselves up for a fight. But Scrapbot a little bit isolated, leaving himself vulnerable to be the trailing edge of this pressure as these teams begin to square up. The third party might be key for victory in this brawl for treatment plant.
Yeah, Scrapbot was scouting for the team and now realizing that the fight has to be brought this way, and Scrapbot's going to get caught out by Blue Hawk. He manages to find one. This could be trouble now for this side. Blue Hawk, he's going to step up. No plates for him. No plates for Vuctrox. No plates for Soupy. They are literally fighting with everything they have left, as we're going to see an opportunity at least to defib one player back on their feet, but the backfill whippet is coming. Living a lot of chickens that they've pushed in at the perfect time, and all of a sudden the meat filling could be a problem here for Scrapface and Co.
This is a horrible position. They're forced to fight one, charging into control. The zone might be their ally for the time being, but here comes the cavalry. As Strix begin to struggle under that pressure, 2 still standing. The backfill arrives to try and collapse on this. It's going to be an easy one if they can hold the numbers advantage for a little bit longer. They get on the back of one. The zone's going to play a spoiler to this pressure as Griffin try to file in and do whatever they can to hold the line. Soupy finds one, wipes it down, and brings us to our final 2. Zone advantage held, and well, the beacon will get no value here. The attempt to make a long, deep pivot all the way around, and this might be the perfect flank to find an opening.
It's bait though. They put down the beacon to try wrap around the other side, distracting the members of the team, but Hydrosky, he's going to find one on the high ground. Livin will get another, as does lots of chickens. There's one player left. Volt they dealt with, and Hydrosky gets it done. Piranha Squad managed to win the final map of the night. And what can I say but what a night of scrims it has been. A hell of a night for the first ever option to get our observers in.
It's been amazing. I think...
Go on with it. I'm happy, mate. You talk, mate, because I've got 4 pieces on the go, mate, and I can now put my stuff down.
Oh my.
Look, when I said this thing up, this is strong. Look, what a game. Let's talk about that last game, guys. What a play. Again, different style of ending. I like this train, obviously, where those guys had to try and play, and we have to talk about TBA going out early. Obviously, is it the big grand scheme of things? If it was a tournament, would we be worried? Mostly not, because they've already bagged the amount of points with it. But it was an early death for them, but it gave an opening, and what I felt, a lot of teams breathing a lot of confidence that they could then potentially take some space.
Yeah, I feel like the lobby feels that breath of relief a little bit. That they see the TBH are gone and TBA are gone, and they can begin to file in that pressure. And I think this is one of the most interesting final circles that we've seen all day. Half a treatment plant, there's very little cover in that low ground. It's kind of in a little bit of bowl with those kind of water pits that you could work around. It proved to be a very, very interesting final fight, but the confidence we saw from these teams, the second they realized that they have that opening, that we see the big dog slain, I think they felt rejuvenated that they could get a big tally for their own score.
Well, they could get a tally for their own score, Gibson, but
go
there's
ahead.
a lot to break in on that end point, mate. And I was about to throw it to you anyway, but do you think it would have played out slightly differently? Obviously, if we played in that field section, or do you think obviously the Piranhas that clear on that south was key for them?
I think that just was bad, like timing affects everything, right? The big difference with a BR and any other kind of esport is in a BR, you've got your squad of 4 players. There's 96 other players in the lobby, and everything they do is going to have a like butterfly effect on what happens to you. I actually like the positions that like Scatface and all had in the center of the position, right? One player was watching the flank on the other side. The problem for them was the fight was brought to them first. You have to give up that control, and I feel like in this game, the third team to push in, the third partier on endgame, is nearly always the team that wins the map in the end. So that's kind of what happened. But we did see, and then Whippet alluded to it during one of the breaks, the game slowed down significantly as the night progressed. So it got very hectic for the first 3, but teams started to get a grip of how the lobbies were playing out as the maps kind of proceeded through the night.
Yeah, look, I felt it, especially from the observing point. It feels like it's like 2 parts of this game. There's an initial hot drop that we've seen a lot of, and we spoke about it in that pre-show, right? Actually, you get the extra life, right? You get the ability to go for that aggressive stance, and if you get some points, you get some points. If you don't, you go down. But the risk versus reward, I feel, with it, why wouldn't you go for the aggressive stance? Why would you not go for those kills early on? Because as I say, if you get the victory, you're in a better stance, and then that snowball effect happens for that late game.
I think I completely agree. I love the fact that we've seen so many teams embrace that confidence. The early game kept that same hectic pacing where they're all diving in, but teams were a little bit more restrained towards that mid game, finding out where we work things. From game 4 to 6, I think we really saw teams figure out where the zone was, try and preemptively set themselves up in the best positions and work around it instead of just chasing down every distant gunshot. Much more different approach, and I think you started to see that more strategical side from these sides and who is a really good team at pre-planning and figuring out where they want to be and when they want to be there.
And I think we'll see more of that tactic come as the game develops. Not that the game develops. I'm going to say as people's knowledge of the aggressive, the esports, the scrims develops. Because at the moment, look, let's be honest, I know Paige in chat, GG's guys, if you all guys are watching, you guys are definitely, I feel like, a step above the rest. And it isn't, as I said before in the last break, about that gun skill, Gibson. Yes, the gun skill's up there, and you can see the reps with the guys, and you've called Unknown as the best player out there. And let's see if you can live by that. But for me, it comes down to those key decision making. They are making the right decisions, and it isn't always about being aggressive. They're holding space, they're holding area, and they're kind of bouncing off the side of the zone and make sure they take the right fight at the right time.
Yeah, and it comes down to the fact that the likes of Paige and Rustamar have so much experience. And, you know, Paige went all in on REDSEC as soon as the game launched way back when. Like, he ditched PUBG, he made his move into REDSEC, and it looks like it's going to work out for him, which I think maybe for a long time, you know, the last few months when there was no tournaments in Europe, he was kind of wondering, would that pay off? But it finally has. And it does look like the future's bright, right? Like, we're in a world now where we're still waiting to find out if Elite Series will be run again. We know that there's a 10K tournament being run by Fireteam in the 5th and 6th of September. I think all 50 spots have been taken up, so it'll be 2 groups over 2 days. But keep your eyes and ears peeled, right? I don't think this will be the only tournament we have between now and the end of the year. So if you are watching and you want to take part, make sure and join the Fireteam Discord. Make sure to keep an eye on what's going on in the community, because there's a lot to come from REDSEC in the coming months.
Right, final thoughts, guys, before we wrap things up. Whip it. Let's start with you, because Gibson waffles a lot.
Oh, I'll try and keep it nice and concise so Gibson can have all the waffle time he would have wanted. But the big takeaway for me is that we have our dominant force in Europe and the benchmark has been set. But don't hold our heads and say, oh, we've got one team in Europe, that's all we have. A target has been placed, and that's something for every other team to chase down. I'm very intrigued to see how from week to week that gap begins to reduce, or even the value grows, because I know the rest of TBH are putting in so much effort to get better every single day.
Gibson, final thoughts, you little legend.
Final thoughts. Been an absolute pleasure tonight. Keep your eyes and ears peeled, because I'm sure the three of us and some more special guests will be coming to your screen for scrims very soon again.
Yeah, without stealing my thunder, thank you very much, Gibson. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone that has tuned in. I do want to thank the fire team for allowing us the ability to jump in and not just take up one slot, but take up two of those important Zerb slots to be able to give you guys a map stream. If you haven't already, make sure you give these two legends a big follow and make sure you follow them on Twitch, because as Gibson has said, we are putting a big step forward. We're investing a lot of time, money into kind of covering the scrims, and obviously we want to try and get into as many of the events when we come around to REDSEC. So I've got a pretty free half year now, boys, so I'm definitely locked in for a lot of REDSEC. Give the guys a follow below, and more importantly, as Gibson said, the !mark fire team, go join the fire team Discord. Why? Because they're putting the scrims up. Let's see the engagement from the community. This one was full. Let's see if we get tomorrow's full. And as Whippet says, yes, we have one team launching away when it comes down to EMEA, but it's very, very early on for REDSEC. So if you're interested in esports and you like what you're seeing here, make sure that you get involved. That's it from us, though. Thank you very much one more time. All the player streams. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.